Silver is trading at $14.72 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,244 per ounce. Zen is trading at $5, and the average price of Bitcoin is $3,452. Antiwar.com reports in a long-anticipated vote, the Senate finally had their motion to proceed on the Yemen war resolution, with Senator Bernie Sanders introducing the motion at 3 o'clock on Wednesday. The vote passed 60 to 39. This opens the Senate up to debate and ultimately vote on the resolution calling for an end to U.S. involvement in the Saudi-led war in Yemen. This marks the second vote that the Senate has had this month to advance the resolution. While the vote went largely as expected, Senator Bob Corker was a surprise defector, voting no on the motion. Corker had opposed previous moves to end the Yemen war, but had backed the idea in recent weeks, citing the Saudi murder of Jamal Khashoggi as his turning point. Proceeding to the resolution is no guarantee that it will pass the Senate. There are a number of additional obstacles that could be thrown up, and those voting to proceed may not, in fact, vote for the resolution itself. Even if it passes the Senate, there likely won't be any concurrent resolution in the House until next year, as the House leadership has once again made a last-second rule change in an unrelated bill to block any challenges to the Yemen war. Born into a devastating world and raised among the crowd, the Cloudwalker assumes a new identity and begins the unrelenting quest for truth. In this epic journey, he discovers dark secrets about aspects of his previous life that he once trusted. Through the journal of the Cloudwalker, he shares both the traumatic hardships and the eternal beauties of his experiences. Dear Society by the Cloudwalker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports insurance claims from the recent spate of California wildfires, including one ranked as the most deadly and destructive in state history, have topped $9 billion and are expected to grow, according to the state insurance commissioner on Wednesday. The claims so far fall short of the record $12 billion in wildfire-related insured losses sustained in California in 2017, most of that from more than a dozen blazes that swept a large swath of wine country north of San Francisco Bay that killed 46 people. This year, the Camp Fire that erupted on November 8th has accounted for the bulk of the claims, just over $7 billion in total. The casualty toll stands as the greatest loss of life from a single wildfire on record in California and the highest from any U.S. wildfire during the past century. The insurance commissioner put preliminary insurance claims from the Woolsey and Hill fires combined at more than $2 billion, bringing the total of all three of last month's blazes to $9.05 billion. The tally reflects losses for residential and commercial coverage, as well as for motor vehicles, agriculture, machinery, and other assets. The numbers released on Wednesday stem from almost 40,000 separate claims, more than a fourth of which represent total losses. Most of those, 10,564, were for personal residential property, but the figure does not include billions of dollars in potential losses faced by Pacific Gas and Electric in the event that the utility's electrical equipment is ultimately found to have caused the Camp Fire. PG&E has said its liability could exceed its insurance coverage if that happens. Zencash has changed their name to Horizon to better represent their transition from a cryptocurrency to a pioneering platform that protects consumer data. They are working towards the day when anyone will be able to build privacy-based applications on the Horizon platform. The unique spelling of Horizon is a nod to their heritage and recognizes that they remain committed to the vision that their project was built upon. Learn more at horizon.global and join the Horizon community. HORIZEN.global. Antiwar.com reports progress has been made in the Yemeni peace talks being held in Sweden, and while there is growing doubt that there will be time to finalize every issue, some new deals were finalized on Wednesday. The biggest aspect of this deal will be the reopening of the Sana'a International Airport, albeit only to domestic flights. Under the deal, all international flights to Houthi-held Sana'a have to stop in the Saudi-dominated city of Aden for a security check. This was the deal pro-Saudi factions had before, but with an important difference. They'd wanted the rights to unconditionally search all Sana'a-bound flights, but now the UN will be conducting any security-related searches. Somewhat less important, there has been a deal to resume oil and gas exports from Yemen, which would bring in some badly needed money for the central bank. Yemen is, however, a fairly small exporter even in the best of times, so this isn't exactly going to bring much relief to their failing economy. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
I got my first Barbie when I was 37 years old, and even when I was younger, I knew I didn't need to look like her to feel good about myself. And just because Barbie has a size 0 waist and wears dark makeup, does that mean that's the only way to be beautiful? I mean, what kind of message does that send to men like me? I always remember that this is just a silly toy, and it shouldn't change the way I look at myself. And if anyone has a problem with me being myself, well, then they're probably not really my friends. I also don't just play with Barbies. I play with Legos and Mega Blocks, because while I definitely like Barbies, I like building things too, and I'm actually really, really good at it. My name is Tim Mortensen. I'm 43 years old, and I know that I don't need to be defined by Barbie. I can be whoever I want to be.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. We'll give you the toll-free call-in lines here momentarily, where you can call in to join us and bring up whatever is on your mind. The us in studio tonight is me, Darryl,
Chris,
and Jackie.
And Chris, you've brought quite a bit to the table tonight, so much that, well, I've not even had a chance to look through all of it. But one of the things that you did bring, and hopefully you have pulled up here, is about this farm bill that I've heard some libertarians praising of, yay, Congress passed a farm bill, and somewhere in the middle of it was something about hemp being removed from the list of controlled substances. There's also that thing about, we can't do anything about the illegal war in Yemen, but yay, hemp.
Well, that's what happens when I look for show prep. It's always a mixed bag.
Right.
Because there really is no 100% good news that comes out of Washington. There is slightly better, horribly worse. I think that's it. And it's mostly horribly worse.
Right.
But in this case, this is something I think is at least a positive step. This comes to us from Business Insider. Congress just quietly passed a law that could spark a boom for the $1 billion marijuana-linked CBD industry.
All right.
This week, a plant that is nearly identical to marijuana is set to become legal to grow in the U.S. Thanks to the U.S. Farm Bill, which the House passed on Wednesday in a 369-47 vote, American farmers will be able to plant and harvest hemp, a strain of the same plant species from which marijuana originates. The bill passed the Senate Tuesday in an 87-13 vote, and President Donald Trump has indicated his support. Hemp legalization has been a long-time goal of Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, Republican from Kentucky, who believes it can replace tobacco as a key crop for his state's farmers.
Right, and the reason that McConnell supports it is because, as you mentioned, Kentucky has a fairly sizable farm population.
Yeah, and they were previously, have always been a big producer of tobacco.
Right.
But other states have kind of taken that away from them. Virginia, I think, is the largest. It's Virginia or North Carolina. I can't remember which. Chief producers of tobacco right now, so it's a good thing. Forget about Kentucky, because I could frankly care less. I don't live there. I'm excited just the fact that hemp, it should have never been considered illegal in the first place.
Right.
And what's great is as fewer and fewer people are smoking, I've actually read that the soil and other crop conditions that are ideal for growing tobacco are also quite good for growing hemp. There was something I read from the Virginia Industrial Hemp Coalition back when I lived down there, and they were commenting that this was an ideal crop to come in and replace tobacco as people were phasing that out of their lives.
Right, and hemp, from what I've read, is one of those good alternative crops to place. So if you're in farming, you don't want to be planting the same crops year after year after year. It's going to deplete the necessary nutrients in the soil that certain crops are going to use. So by switching that up, that's never a bad thing, and that's been
So it's
been
good.
a best practice in farming for a long time.
Yeah, so it's good for crop rotation as well.
That's the word I was looking for, but I kept dancing around it.
And then
Now-
there's also the concept of cover crops, which are things that'll survive through the winter or when you're otherwise leaving the field fallow, and keeps you from having as much soil erosion.
Correct. And all sorts of... We could do a whole 4-H show maybe one night. Could
So-
we do that?
We should get an actual farmer in here.
Oh, I think we can fake it.
Yeah.
We'll
We
just-
can probably find a farmer or two, but unfortunately, the farmers that I know buy into, and I'm glad you mentioned farmers because I wanted to bring this up anyway. There's like a long-standing, I'm going to call it myth, that, well, the reason that Congress made hemp illegal in the first place is because the paper companies and DuPont wound up buying all of the politicians, and hemp plastic competed with DuPont plastic, and they didn't want the competition. So, well, what's going on here? Did DuPont wind up changing their mind and saying, we're going to grow hemp now for plastic?
I don't think the brand name DuPont ever came up once in this particular article. We'll continue through, and it'll generate some more questions.
I thought it was the Hearst Newspaper
Yeah.
Corporation.
Combination
Okay.
of the two.
I
And
actually
again,
Googled that,
that's
yeah.
why I say it's a growing myth, because every time you turn around, people are just throwing another company in there of, well, you can make this product and that product. The Levi, I'm surprised nobody said that Levi Strauss tried to ban it, because you can make clothing out of hemp fibers.
In the end, hemp is a very versatile fiber. I think that's the big thing, that it can be used for a lot of things. The fact that it's currently its biggest use seems to be, at least in the United States, is CBD oils, or CBD products, and that really has nothing to do with its traditional uses. But we're going to continue here. The move alters the language of a major drug law that has previously remained unchanged for half a century and loosely defines hemp alongside marijuana as a controlled substance. The new bill exempts hemp from that law and defines it as an agricultural product. That means farmers and researchers of hemp now get some of the same benefits as farmers and researchers of other crops, like the ability to apply for insurance, imagine that, insurance, and federal grants. Quote, "The era of hemp prohibition is over," unquote, Jonathan Miller, legal counsel for a lobbying coalition of over 60 hemp companies called the U.S. Hemp Roundtable, told Business Insider. That's a key change for scientists, many of whom say previous drug laws deter them from studying hemp because it was regulated like marijuana. The bill may also boost interest in a nascent but booming $1 billion industry based on a component of the cannabis plant called CBD, which has been touted for a variety of health and wellness claims. CBD is popping up in more and more products, from coffee and tea to supplements and beer.
Now, unfortunately, I don't think this is a result of politicians just suddenly coming to their senses. I think it's because it's now technologically possible to go out into a industrial hemp field and spot check the THC levels in the plants. Like, they have equipment that does that now, because again, Virginia Industrial Hemp Coalition, I remember them posting about some training events to find out, what sort of equipment you could get to do this.
No, and I suspect the ability to isolate CBD has probably been around for decades.
Right.
And the ability to measure it. I don't think that's the case here at all. I think this is politicians smelling which way the wind's blowing and saying, we want to be on that stinky side where they're burning the hemp.
Yeah, there go my people, I must lead them.
Right, yeah.
Chasing after the crowd.
Yeah, and then I've heard the ads of John Boehner, former Speaker of the House, huge drug warrior, now apparently working for some
huge drug lobbyist.
cannabis
We
company.
have those ads on this show, and it's surreal.
Yep.
Not that they run on the network that syndicates us. They're not advertisers directly of this show.
Yep. But CBD can be sourced from both marijuana and hemp plants. Its legal status, set by the Drug Enforcement Administration, remains somewhat hazy. Hazy, get it?
Yes.
CBD from marijuana, just like marijuana as a whole, remains illegal. But now that hemp is legal, CBD from hemp may be legal too. Quote, "The devil's in the details, and we don't know yet how the DEA will act to implement the law," Danielle Palomari, The director of University of California at Irvine Center for the Study of Cannabis and a professor of neuroscience and pharmacology told Business Insider.
Now, one thing that's going to be interesting, so, all right, looks like the federal law is going to change whenever Trump winds up, signing this thing. But there are still laws at the state level in a lot of states classifying industrial hemp as a Schedule I substance. So it's something that even though a law changed at one level, it's going to have to change at a bunch of other levels.
And it's not even a question of whether one law changes in the federal government, but whether the regulations based on the old law will actually remain. We'll talk about that.
Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Your calls and thoughts welcome about whatever is on your mind. Plus, we've got the Discord call-in lines, discord.lrn.fm.
He was such a sweet, lovable animal, and people would want to pet him, and they'd come up, and they'd get close to him, and it would be this instant, my dad didn't want to touch him. It's like, ooh, get the stinky dog away from me.
Even after we'd give her a bath, she would still stink.
Very stinky, both bad breath and bad gas. I asked the vet, and he said some dogs are just stinky.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dinovite for help.
DINOVITE.com.
The omega-3 fatty acids.
Flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa, the digestive enzymes that are cooked out of regular dog food. The ingredients convinced me that it was definitely worth trying. After about a week, he started smelling normal. My husband and I were really kind of astonished. Dinovite is nutrition.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
Bitcoin.com is delighted to announce their latest partnership with the gift card specialists at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, it is now easier than ever to get the gift cards of your favorite brands with Bitcoin Cash. To get started, just follow these simple steps. Visit giftcards.bitcoin.com, pick the gift card you want, follow the instructions on your screen, and make your payment using your Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight and your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com.
Do you operate a retail business and are looking for a solution for point-of-sale cryptocurrency acceptance? It's never been easier thanks to AnyPay.global. There's no paperwork or approval process to open an account. If you already have a tablet, you're almost done. Just sign up at AnyPay.global, drop your personal crypto wallet addresses on the setup page, and then load the app. That's it. You're accepting cryptocurrency like Bitcoin and Dash at your store. Get started now at AnyPay.global. AnyPay.global.
Free Talk Live. Is it ever appropriate to use violence to oppose the state? I can't say I would blame somebody for wanting to meet the SS at the front door with the clubs and the guns or whatever they could to defend their family. I wouldn't blame them.
Gandhi went to jail. What if he had met the English at the door with shotguns instead of going to jail? I don't want to talk about this anymore because, it's just madness. I don't need to be playing these scenarios out where what am I going to do if this happens or what am I going to do if that happens?
It's not a good mindset.
I'm gonna get the chainsaw out and cut a couple of trees across the driveway, and I'm gonna sit out there with a 50 cal bullet, and I'm gonna pick them off.
It'll drive you crazy.
Nuts. I mean, you're gonna die from high blood pressure and a lot of shiny guns. I'm a ticking time bomb waiting to go off. Coppers.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Wolverine. Brrr.
The LRN.FM's social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Your calls and thoughts welcome about whatever is on your mind. In studio tonight, it's Darryl,
Chris,
and Jackie.
And we've been talking about probably the one good provision inside the Farm Bill. I don't know if anybody's taken the time to read all 5,497,392,114 pages of it. Now, I might be slightly exaggerating the length of the bill, but this is one of those catch-all bills to where everything that we want to do coming towards the end of the year, better just go ahead and throw it in that bill that everybody's going to vote for.
Yeah, put the most important stuff in there, Darryl. Things like school lunches and in a farm bill.
Putting in a provision in the Farm Bill that says that the U.S. House of Representatives will not vote on directing Donald Trump to stop U.S. support for the war in Yemen. That got added into the Farm Bill. What does that have to do with farming?
Does it stop him from doing that if he's on a farm?
Has nothing to do with a farm at all. But the one good provision that we do know, and I'm hopefully it winds up being good, because we still don't know how the DEA is actually going to interpret the new law. But there is provision in there that would legalize industrial hemp.
Right. But let's talk about that DEA, the Drug Enforcement Agency, real quickly. The DEA, which controls the scheduling of substances, has not said how it will respond to the new bill. As it stands, so long as CBD product is, quote, intended for human consumption, unquote, it remains a Schedule I drug, DEA spokesperson Catherine Pfaff, I cannot pronounce names that start with a P and have a bunch of F's in them, told Business Insider on Tuesday.
All right. So if I go to the store and I have seen dog treats that have CBD in them.
Yep.
So not intended for human consumption.
Oh, here we go. Pedantic Darryl. Go ahead.
That, not a Schedule I substance. But if I ingest it, then I'd be breaking another federal law of some sort, probably.
It's probably a Schedule I, but you have to say Schedule I like Scooby-Doo would say Schedule I, so it's like Retro Run?
Well, no, because it says if it's intended for human consumption, it remains Schedule I, so I'm guessing if it's labeled not for human consumption, a Schedule I?
What I'm guessing is, Darryl, the DEA and most federal agencies will assume, based on the longest possible leaps of credibility, how to claim that they control it.
Right.
So it's insane, and there's no way that this is going to end up that there's not some place for some innocent person to be fined for putting a natural substance of a product that has no psychotropic effects into the body that they allegedly own.
Right. And I've heard of people smoking the desiccant packs, thinking that it would get them high because they seriously thought not intended for human consumption meant this will get you high.
Wait, what?
Desiccant.
Like the little things in
the pack of shoes or in little packs of
jerky.
Yeah.
Silica gel. We'll try one over the break.
But
we'll
not
get
in
back to
CBD
everyone.
products.
No. I know somebody that they cracked one of those open and they smoked it because they thought it would get them high because the little package says not for human consumption, and they thought not for human consumption was slang for this gets you high because that's how the bath salts and the synthetic cannabis is marketed.
Was it a desiccant in like something that had CBD or was otherwise made of hemp? It was just like out of a pack of jerky or something.
It was just somebody that grabbed a pack of desiccant out of like a thing of shoes.
Right.
And they smoked it because they thought not intended for human consumption meant this gets you high.
Okay.
Let's go to the phones.
My only question, Darryl, is did it give you a headache?
It wasn't me.
Okay.
But everything gives me a headache.
Okay. Daryl's smarter than that.
We've got Terry calling in from Manchester. Terry, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Hey, gang. How are we today? How are we all doing?
Good, doing well. Thanks. What's on your mind?
Now, missing Ian, I see him just off the camera there, so it does make me feel comfortable knowing he's at least around, but miss him on the mics. I love me some Ian.
Well, not for long. He's going to karaoke.
Thursday's one of his nights off, as is Sunday. So you don't get him all 7 nights of the week. Just go ahead with what
he deserves it.
Yep, go ahead with your thoughts.
What do you got? What are you guys working with there? I called the other show. They weren't too keen. They didn't really know. What kind of mics you guys working with there?
Let me take a look here real quick. And it is
realistic.
Okay. Yeah. What kind of board y'all working with there? You guys got a full on board or an audio?
Yeah, it's a full board. Just go ahead. What's the point here, Terry?
Well, he's an audio.
Like Tech Talk Live is not exactly the most thrilling sort of thing. So is there a point to the questions?
Well, I mean, the stuff you normally.
Yep. Did we lose him?
I think we lost him mid-sentence. He's still showing as being here, so
that might be a problem with our Craco board.
I'm still here. I think I might have cut out. Are y'all there?
Yeah,
we're still here. So what's the point about asking about electronics?
Well, I'm not just interested in electronics. I'd like to know what kind of chairs y'all working with there as well.
All right, Terry,
thank you for the call.
Terry, tell you what, I will take pictures of everything, and Darryl can post it to the social media, and then you will know.
Yeah, and if you're going to call in as a prank caller, at least ask something fairly interesting.
That was better than the other prank that we got, where the guy just posted the squealing noise. Sadly, that was an above average prank call.
Sadly. I was good with my realistic microphone and the Craco board we use.
Yeah.
2 brands that some people will know.
So, let's
get
jump
back
into this Business Insider story. Again, about the provision that was in that farm bill that legalizes industrial hemp. And, well, the DEA is now saying, yeah, we're still going to consider everything derived from hemp. If it's got CBD in it, we're going to consider that to be Schedule 1.
Yeah. So basically what Congress does and what the president is likely to pass is going to be a change to the the half-century-old drug law that defines scheduling of drugs. Somehow they're massaging that so that hemp is sort of excluded. And then here comes the DEA who says, well, we're really going to want to take a look at that because if it says intended for human consumption or it is intended for human consumption, that still falls under our control.
Right. So let me explain kind of how ridiculous this is. The claim is, well, because hemp and cannabis are both kind of related and one of them gets you high, we're just going to ban all of it. Well, you know what? Certain types of mushrooms will get you high, but they still let you put it on your pizza.
Yep, there you go.
And then, you can get it as a fake burger. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
The United States of Empire is a book that claims the United States is the empire of the world. George Washington had warned us against foreign wars. The United States of Empire shows that World Wars I and II left England broken. Its former colony, the U.S., had to save the empire. Was there ever a vote? Who do we fight for? The deep state began with World War I. The United States of Empire by James Dunn. Available at Amazon Books.
You may need this herbal tea for relief right away, so write this down. DRMILLERS clinic.com. If you take meds, then suffer stomach distress, constipation, indigestion, acid reflux, and bloating, and nothing else helps, get Dr. Miller's Holy Tea or Super Holy Tea, a cleansing, detoxifying herbal tea now available at great rates direct from Dr. Miller's office. Call or click 888-660-7039 or DRMILLERS clinic.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
Hi, I'm Derek J. To me, an activist's calling is to actively work to advance a cause. The cause for which I work is personal freedom. I believe my life is best when I engage in voluntary interactions and self-government. I reject the idea that anyone else has a higher claim to my life or my body than I do. I see people who call themselves the government as a threat to my personal freedom. I realize you may feel differently, but my relationship with the people who call themselves the government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've been talking about this provision that was added into the Farm Bill, because everything gets added into the Farm Bill if there's not an NDAA up for vote. And one of the provisions here is in regards to industrial hemp. We'll get back into the story in just a moment. But maybe you're thinking, oh, industrial hemp's now legal. I think I'm going to start growing some. Well, you might want to keep an eye on it. And what better way than with some Blink home security cameras? The Blink cameras are wireless, except for the hub that does have a wire in it. But the actual cameras themselves, wireless. The batteries on them last up to 2 years. There are no contracts. There are no subscriptions. They are totally affordable. And you can check in on your Blink cameras whenever you want, wherever you want from a mobile device. And it works with Alexa. So you just say something along the lines of, Alexa, check my Blink cameras. And holidays coming up, Blink cameras make a great holiday gift, and they're a brilliant way to monitor holiday package deliveries. Save up to a whopping 40% off on all add-on cameras and systems through December 22nd while supplies last. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. That's blinkprotect.com/FTL. Blink is an Amazon company.
And we've been talking about this move by Congress, passing a bill that sort of removes hemp from the Controlled Substances Act, which is what makes marijuana insanely illegal within the United States at the federal level,
Correct.
Despite it being decriminalized or legalized at many states.
Right, and I think it's now, 1 in 4 adults in the United States can legally purchase recreational cannabis.
That's great. I don't know the exact numbers, but when you start doing states like California as a percentage of our population,
Right.
That's a big number.
California, Oregon, Washington, Colorado, Alaska, Maine is rolling out. D.C. doesn't allow retail sales.
Oh, okay.
Maine is rolling out retail, I think, in the spring, possibly early next summer. Massachusetts has it.
Yep.
DC doesn't allow retail sales, but you can buy some overpriced product and get it as a gift.
Would you like to buy this $300 pencil?
Yeah. And they'll have little meetups in which they do that.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, so the DEA has basically come out and said, well, you may have changed it, and we can't control the schedule of that, but because it's still for human consumption, it's still in our area, and we're going to keep messing with you. Marijuana
Right. And
hemp.
again, it's akin to just criminalizing every type of mushroom because some of them get you high.
Exactly. Marijuana and hemp come from the same plant species called Cannabis sativa. Both contain THC and CBD, but each plant has its own unique strain of cannabis.
Or cannabinoids, either way.
Yeah, I know. Wasn't sure which way they were going there. Until recently, hemp was bred almost entirely for industrial uses like manufacturing. As a result, hemp plants today have very low amounts of THC, the psychoactive chemical responsible for marijuana's high. Instead, hemp plants are often higher in CBD or cannabidiol, which is also found in marijuana. CBD is now thought to be responsible for several of cannabis's therapeutic effects. For example, marijuana-derived CBD is the active ingredient in Epidiolex, a syrup that is the first cannabis-based drug to gain U.S. government approval for medical use. The government approved the drug over the summer. The drug treats 2 rare forms of child epilepsy. I'm just going to say here that when they approve something for 2 rare forms of something, that usually means there's a whole lot of other things that it would help with too.
Right. And let me remind people what Schedule 1 actually means in accordance with federal law. Schedule 1 means that there are no known medical uses, yet, what is it now? Somewhere between 28 and 42 states, depending on how you count, allow for for medicinal use of cannabis, meaning that it's acknowledged there are medicinal uses for this. The federal government just admitted there are medicinal uses for this, but they're still saying that it is somehow more addictive than crystal meth, which is a Schedule 2 substance.
Right. And that's where it's really hard to get somebody who's convinced that they're always right to admit when they're wrong.
Right.
And in this case, that someone would be government. It's a shame, and it's really blocked things. What I really appreciate about, because I'm not a big pot smoker, and I have recently started taking CBD for a couple things.
Allegedly.
No, not allegedly. I really do take CBD. Because at this point, when it's $1 billion industry that's practiced in the open, wide open, in stores all over the country, you can't stop it.
Right.
They cannot. They don't have that many goons to go arrest everybody.
Right.
They could never do it. And that is the beauty. And that's why nullification works. This is where I'm going with this. I mean, if we would just say, if states would start saying, yeah, Washington, you got this insane law. We think it's stupid, so we're not going to enforce it in our state.
Right.
End of story. That's what's going on. And the marijuana debate and the hemp debate have been perfect examples of how to get out from under some of Washington's insanity. Just tell them you're not going to do it. And if it's a good idea, other states are going to catch on, and then it loses itself. And my shout-outs to the folks at the 10th Amendment Center. I've been a member of that group for a long, long time. I think they have the right idea.
Yeah.
One thing that is clear from the new bill is that commerce involving hemp is now in the clear. Federally insured banks, for example, have the green light for the first time to work with industrial hemp producers.
Now, I'm very surprised that Business Insider, which one would think would look at, I don't know, all things related to business activity, just glosses over the fact that, hemp companies can actually wind up using banks now.
Yeah, and a lot of people are probably unaware of that, but this is one of the biggest problems in the cannabis industry is what do we do with the money that people give us for our product now that it's legal in my state?
Put it in a big giant shoebox.
Well, the problem is so many banks are afraid to get involved.
Right, because it's
industries.
Federally illegal for a bank to do business with someone that is making money through known illegal activities.
Yep, and there you go.
I was just going to say Business Insider is sort of the lower end of business and economic. Like, you want The Economist, Wall Street Journal, Financial Times, like Business Insider is...
Hey, they registered a really good domain name.
I'm just saying.
That's what I'll give them.
I mean, it's an actual magazine. It's just not very good.
I know that, and I don't look to this when I'm looking for a thoughtful opinion, but I am looking to them when I want to see inspiring headlines. Right. That's what business is.
Yeah, and I'm just pointing out that I think it's kind of odd that a business outlet here just glosses over this, where I'm guessing, like The Economist will probably write a fairly lengthy article about how important it is that hemp companies can now, actually use the financial system.
Well, I'm not convinced they will, but I hope they do, and I hope more people become more aware of this. In the meantime, I hope that those hemp companies and marijuana companies start looking at cryptocurrencies as a way to avoid this whole system completely.
And I'm surprised that more, businesses like this haven't sort of embraced cryptocurrency.
Maybe they have.
I've not heard about it.
I haven't either.
If cannabis retailers in the states where it's legal are adopting crypto, I've not heard any of those stories.
Maybe they're quietly buying up Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies as a place to hold their wealth. Maybe.
Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynavite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite.
Dynavite for life.
Pick up 2 tubes of Doggo Suds.
Get the 3rd tube free.
Peppermint, tea tree, lavender, Doggo Sud shampoo.
Made with all-natural coconut, jojoba, aloe. Great for healthy skin and soft, shiny coats.
But no itchy, harsh chemicals.
Lather up, rinse away.
Try Doggo Suds. Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynavite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Bitcoin.com is delighted to announce their latest partnership with the gift card specialists at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, it is now easier than ever to get the gift cards of your favorite brands with Bitcoin Cash. To get started, just follow these simple steps. Visit giftcards.bitcoin.com, pick the gift card you want, follow the instructions on your screen, and make your payment using your Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight and your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Do you need extra cash to buy gifts or just to pay all those extra bills during the holidays? Well, now you can get cash fast this holiday season with a personal loan for up to $5,000 right from your phone or PC at 79cash.com. How fast can you get your cash? Well, with 79cash.com, our lenders can have your cash at your bank account as soon as tomorrow, regardless of your credit history. Just have a checking account and a regular source of income. Go to 79cash.com and you can get the cash loan you need now. So if you need cash fast this holiday season to buy gifts or pay all those extra bills, go to 79cash.com and get the cash you need. Visit 79cash.com. Type www.79cash.com directly into the address bar. That's 79cash.com. 79cash.com. 79cash.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Your calls and thoughts welcome about whatever is on your mind. You can call in and join us. The us in studio is Darryl,
Chris,
and Jackie.
And we've been talking about one specific provision that was in the Farm Bill that just wound up passing through the U.S. House of Representatives. And that provision deals with industrial hemp, specifically that Congress is saying, hey, this should not be considered a controlled substance. DEA saying, yeah, well, we're probably still going to consider some of it controlled if it's intended for human consumption.
Correct. They're considering it an agricultural product now.
Right.
That's their change.
And we were then talking about just this one sentence that Business Insider just sort of like mentions in passing. Oh, yeah, federally insured banks will now be able to wind up actually working with industrial hemp producers. And we started from there talking about how, like some cannabis businesses might want to look at cryptocurrencies. And I said, I'm surprised that I've not heard about it. And then with like 2 seconds left in the segment, I remembered I did hear something about this, and I pulled the story up, and I'm not going to get too terribly far into it because I want to get back to the hemp story. But apparently in March of last year, Seattle-based cannabis merchants were given the green light by the state of Washington to accept Bitcoin for cannabis sales. Now, they are working with a company called Posibit that my looking into this, it seemed like it was kind of a workaround for them to actually take credit cards where they were selling the cryptocurrency to people with credit cards and then accepting the cryptocurrency for payment.
Right.
So were they, like this gets into one of those, I guess, philosophical questions of were they actually accepting Bitcoin or were they accepting credit cards?
Yeah.
It's the same sort of thing of if I give you a broom and then you replace the broom handle and then 6 months down the road you replace the bristles, is it the same broom?
Right. And I think the point of cryptocurrencies to me, and this is where I truly believe, is that each of you listening right now has the complete right to financial privacy. You all know that you have a right to free speech and that you can say what you wish and you can think what you want to think. And those aren't something that government granted. It's something that's just part of being human. And nobody doubts that. But we also believe that we have a right to privacy, that the government just can't walk into your house and see what you're doing. They're not supposed to do that. That is not in the Constitution. And there are a lot of protections there for you. For you listening right now, there were attempts to protect that, and that has gone by the wayside. And because the federal government infrequently ever returns any rights, if ever, they just take more. And now it's to the point where you can't even have transactions that the government doesn't know about, and that's a big deal. If you wanted to support, friends or family that are in a country that's under a worse regime than ours. They might be tracking their transactions, and they might know there's a lot of reasons why we would want to protect our financial privacy, and I cannot emphasize how important that is to liberty.
Right.
Well, I'm going to get back to this story, and I'm going to find the right tab that I was on. Because CBD can come from either marijuana or hemp plants, it's unclear whether or not hemp-derived CBD products are now legal. Previously, thousands of manufacturers and entrepreneurs glommed onto the CBD wellness trend with the awareness that CBD products existed in a legal gray zone. Part of the reason for this was so there was no specific language in the DEA's main drug law, the Controlled Substances Act, that uses the word hemp. Thanks to that fuzziness, you could find everything from CBD lattes in New York to CBD teas at grocery stores across the country.
And you may or may not be able to find CBD lollipops in New Hampshire that you can purchase with cryptocurrency.
That's a good point. But now that hemp is legal, some experts expect the trend to really take off. And I wonder who owns stock in these companies.
John Boehner?
John Boehner, likely. Quote, the passing of the Farm Bill will most certainly open up the marketplace for hemp products, specifically hemp extracts that are high in CBD, unquote. John Hendricks, the director of domestic product business development for cannabis company CV Sciences, told the Business Insider, quote, it will provide a higher comfort level for retailers and consumers which will lead to more investment and opportunity in the industry as it will continue to see rapid expansion. Still, other experts, particularly scientists, have expressed concern that while the bill itself is a step in the right direction, what remains to be seen is how the DEA will respond to it. Until the DEA decides to change the status of CBD, researchers can't expect too many changes to their current work. Go ahead.
Oh, I just want to say I checked, and the place in Massachusetts does take credit cards. So
yeah, they've got a good bank.
Yeah. Somehow they found one that'll work with them.
It's difficult to say what the real health benefits of CBD are right now. The drug does appear to have at least one well-vetted therapeutic benefit, staunching the symptoms of 2 rare forms of childhood epilepsy by way of a newly approved drug, Epidiolex. There's another pressing issue facing the CBD industry, too. The products are poorly regulated, meaning there's wide variation in their content, safety, and price. For a 2017 study published in the Journal of the American Medical Association, researchers tested 84 CBD products purchased from 31 different online retailers. Roughly 7 out of the 10 had different levels of CBD than what was written on the label. Of all the items tested, roughly half of them had more CBD than was indicated, a quarter had less, and 18 of the samples tested positive for THC, despite it not being listed on the label.
Now, I personally want to dig into this study to see how far off were they. If it says, contains 1 milligram and it was 1.1 milligram, that's technically not the amount.
Well, I don't...
But it's within like a standard deviation, right?
That's a question. I say this is not to be unexpected at all, because the government has come down on CBD, and everybody who's working in this area is working in a gray area. They don't know if they're legal. So does that mean that lots of research money is going to go in, or companies going to come up with the the latest and greatest new testing equipment to ascertain CBD levels in gummy bears?
Right.
Of course not. That is the problem that results from government involvement. That it not only makes it illegal, but it quashes any opportunities to realize benefits from this.
I also think CBD is sort of the new trendy marketing thing that people are just jumping on.
Completely.
Sometimes you'll see these days meat products and it'll say gluten-free on the package, it's meat. Of course it is. Because I've tried CBD stuff and I was not impressed. It was about as effective as 2 extra strength Tylenol for 100 times the cost.
Right.
Now, I'm holding in my hand a knockoff Snapple that says that it has 80 grams of potassium. If I were to take a full one of these and send it off to a lab and it came back with 81 grams of potassium, would they then write a report about how this knockoff Snapple is misrepresenting dietary stuff on the label?
The big difference will be you will be able to find a lab to send that to. And when you have government coming down on entire industries, even when the word hemp isn't even in the Controlled Substances Act, then you're going to squash any opportunity for somebody to build
because what they put in the Controlled Substances Act is the word cannabis,
right,
which includes both the stuff that people refer to as marijuana plus hemp.
At a different level, it's as if, because we're just talking about levels in the genus and the kingdoms, it's like them saying plant illegal.
Yeah.
You're still taking a very broad branch and just saying everything related to that. It's a silly way.
Yeah, if somebody wound up, finding out, there's a particular rose that if you dehydrate and then you smoke it, you can get high. And then just saying, we're banning all roses.
Right. That's the government. When all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail.
Your calls and thoughts welcome about whatever is on your mind. This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Plus, we've got the Discord call-in lines, discord.lrn.fm.
Trading involves financial risk and is not suitable for all investors.
Marijuana has unleashed a green gold rush across our nation. It's creating $10.8 billion in new wealth a year. And every day, it's transforming more and more Americans into millionaires. Former Speaker of the House John Boehner reveals how you could become one of them. Join him online for the American Cannabis Summit. Attendance is 100% free, but space is limited. Join online at www.acs2018.com. John Boehner and an esteemed panel will reveal which cannabis stocks are primed to deliver life-changing windfalls. Plus, they will show you how to become a cannabis angel investor, backing the hottest startups before they potentially become worth billions of dollars.
To join the American Cannabis Summit, visit acs2018.com or text JOIN to 76280. Don't miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Text JOIN to 76280. Text JOIN to 76280 now.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, December 13th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.72 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,244 per ounce. Zen is trading at $5, and the average price of Bitcoin is $3,452. Antiwar.com reports in a long-anticipated vote, the Senate finally had their motion to proceed on the Yemen war resolution, with Senator Bernie Sanders introducing the motion at 3 o'clock on Wednesday. The vote passed 60-39. This opens the Senate up to debate and ultimately vote on the resolution calling for an end to U.S. involvement in the Saudi-led war in Yemen. This marks the second vote that the Senate has had this month to advance the resolution. While the vote went largely as expected, Senator Bob Corker was a surprise defector, voting no on the motion. Corker had opposed previous moves to end the Yemen war, but had backed the idea in recent weeks, citing the Saudi murder of Jamal Khashoggi as his turning point. Proceeding to the resolution is no guarantee that it will pass the Senate. There are a number of additional obstacles that could be thrown up, and those voting to proceed may not, in fact, vote for the resolution itself. Even if it passes the Senate, there likely won't be any concurrent resolution in the House until next year, as the House leadership has once again made a last-second rule change in an unrelated bill to block any challenges to the Yemen war. Born into a devastating world and raised among the crowd, the Cloudwalker assumes a new identity and begins the unrelenting quest for truth. In this epic journey, he discovers dark secrets about aspects of his previous life that he once trusted. Through the Journal of the Cloudwalker, he shares both the traumatic hardships and the eternal beauties of his experiences. Dear Society by the Cloudwalker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports insurance claims from the recent spate of California wildfires, including one ranked as the most deadly and destructive in state history, have topped $9 billion and are expected to grow, according to the state insurance commissioner on Wednesday. The claims so far fall short of the record $12 billion in wildfire-related insured losses sustained in California in 2017, most of that from more than a dozen blazes that swept a large swath of wine country north of San Francisco Bay that killed 46 people. This year, the Camp Fire that erupted on November 8th has accounted for the bulk of the claims, just over $7 billion in total. The casualty toll stands as the greatest loss of life from a single wildfire on record in California and the highest from any U.S. wildfire during the past century. The insurance commissioner put preliminary insurance claims from the Woolsey and Hill fires combined at more than $2 billion, bringing the total of all three of last month's blazes to $9.05 billion. The tally reflects losses for residential and commercial coverage, as well as for motor vehicles, agriculture, machinery, and other assets. The numbers released on Wednesday stem from almost 40,000 separate claims, more than a fourth of which represent total losses. Most of those, 10,564, were for personal residential property, but the figure does not include billions of dollars in potential losses faced by Pacific Gas and Electric in the event that the utility's electrical equipment is ultimately found to have caused the Camp Fire. PG&E has said its liability could exceed its insurance coverage if that happens. Zencash has changed their name to Horizon to better represent their transition from a cryptocurrency to a pioneering platform that protects consumer data. They are working towards the day when anyone will be able to build privacy-based applications on the Horizon platform. The unique spelling of Horizon is a nod to their heritage and recognizes that they remain committed to the vision that their project was built upon. Learn more at horizon.global and join the Horizon community. HORIZEN.global. Antiwar.com reports progress has been made in the Yemeni peace talks being held in Sweden, and while there is growing doubt that there will be time to finalize every issue, some new deals were finalized on Wednesday. The biggest aspect of this deal will be the reopening of the Sana'a International Airport, albeit only to domestic flights. Under the deal, all international flights to Houthi-held Sana'a have to stop in the Saudi-dominated city of Aden for a security check. This was the deal pro-Saudi factions had before, but with an important difference. They'd wanted the rights to unconditionally search all Sana'a-bound flights, but now the UN will be conducting any security-related searches. Somewhat less important, there has been a deal to resume oil and gas exports from Yemen, which would bring in some badly needed money for the central bank. Yemen is, however, a fairly small exporter, even in the best of times, so this isn't exactly going to bring much relief to their failing economy. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Jode Cress Beckman. From claim jumpers to politicians to coyotes, the straight shooter that shook up the presidential race is taking them all on and licking them good.
Hello, Jode.
Who and what's behind these potato monkey shines?
Well, these scientists are trying to mass-produce potatoes that are more resistant to disease, but they're doing so in potentially dangerous ways that alter their DNA.
Tater disease what brung us Irish.
Right.
You give a tater man's constitution, you can bet he's coming to play old Joe to call.
Yes, well, nature's revenge could come in the form of disease
now you listen
or
to
allergens.
Me, taters. You gave a mind of a tater.
Jode, please, let me make my point.
You're tater-minded and you're looking to infiltrate old Joe's cabin, but you're too late.
No.
Now you get out, or I'll slice your tater heart out and fry it up on my griddle.
Okay, Jode.
Now, y'all stay close here. Gonna have my jug band back here, and if Jasper don't let me strum the washboard, we're gonna resort to cutting.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. Kicking off hour number 2, you are free to call in and talk live with us by dialing toll-free 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Or there's also the Discord call-in lines that you can find over at discord.lrn.fm. So we spent most of the first hour talking about probably the only good provision out of the incredibly long farm bill that basically over the last several years has acted as sort of a catch-all because everybody knows it's going to pass.
It's an
so
omnibus.
Let's just throw everything in there, even stuff not related to farming, like a prohibition on the U.S. House of Representatives voting to tell Donald Trump to stop assisting the Saudis in their bombing of Yemen. But the one good provision that we're aware of is that industrial hemp is no longer, in accordance with the Controlled Substances Act, will no longer be considered a controlled substance. But the DEA says, well, wait a minute, we might still wind up considering things with CBD that are intended for human consumption to be a controlled substance. But that pair of pants that were made out of hemp fibers, yeah, that's probably going to be okay.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of people's list of... I was just reading an article out of Washington State talking about the 5 most important things in the Farm Bill, because, folks, it's rarely just about what the name of the bill is. Frequently, it's the exact opposite of what the bill is named. But just to kind of wrap this up, the Farm Bill itself won't directly affect product safety. But experts believe that these laws move towards legalization and an increased role for regulators. The companies that abide by strict manufacturing conditions will come out on top, while those who run fast and loose with rules will suffer. Quote, I believe that if you're a CBD manufacturer and you can say that you're making a quality product, then you have nothing to worry about, unquote, Harry Law said. Harry Law being
Kelvin Harry Law, the CEO of the CBD Palace
that independently audits CBD manufacturers.
The CBD Palace, by the way, sounds like someplace that every stoner would want to go.
Exactly. Quote, I believe if you're a CBD manufacturer and you say that you make a quality product, then you'll have nothing to worry about, unquote, Harry Law said. But if you aren't sure or if you've cut corners, those CBD manufacturers are the ones that should be worried because we have the power of the federal government behind us. And,
now, what if the people cutting corners also say that they make a quality product? Because he says if you say you make a quality product,
that's it.
Then you're good.
Yeah.
We've got the best hemp.
This
the
is
absolute best.
It's not about hemp. It's not about anything else other than Washington's desire to control.
It's about control.
And when we look at this entire farm bill, you have things like no work requirements for SNAP, Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program. What does that have to do with farming? Other than, I guess, people eat food
comes from farms. And you do have a story about 5 things that were in that.
Oh, yeah.
Let's get into that in just a moment. But first, speaking of people that like control, let's go to Sarah calling in from New Mexico. Sarah, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Yes, we had these electric buses from China.
All right.
For the rapid ride.
How do they get here?
Probably on a boat.
I'm just wondering if you're taking a bus that, like, its last stop was China, and now Sarah's getting on it in Albuquerque. Do we build a bridge in addition to the wall? Go ahead.
Okay. Well, what I'm trying to say is that these 20 buses were defective. They had problems with the doors.
Oh my God!
So they had to send it all back to California.
Who bought these buses? Was it your local government?
Well, the Albuquerque, yeah, that was the original idea.
Right. So the government didn't do a good job of buying buses.
Well, it was supposed to work, but they had so much problems with the brakes and the doors.
All right, hold on. I'm confused here. You said that the buses came from China, but they're sending them to California.
That's probably where they're
right. And then that's where they're going to, from California, they're going to ship it back to China.
Okay. I thought you were saying they were sending it to California because apparently Albuquerque doesn't have mechanics.
No, it would be like a warranty. You return it if it doesn't work.
Right.
They were manufactured at the company's California-based North American subsidiary. So they didn't come from China. It's just a Chinese company, apparently.
I'll see you guys buy American. Great.
So they are actually manufactured in California? I mean, it's the company is owned by China?
Yes. I'm looking at the Albuquerque Journal article about it from last month right now.
So give us some of the actual facts here, Jackie.
Okay, so it says, this is from, let me check the date here. It is my browser just crashed. My browser just crashed.
Yeah,
all right. Browser just crashed, so we'll find the facts later. Sarah, thank you for the call.
So what's the deal, guys? Now you're looking for facts to get in the way of a good Sarah call.
I always want facts to get in the way of a Sarah call.
She admitted the other night that she calls us sometimes just to have us Google things for her because she doesn't have internet.
Have a computer.
She doesn't have an Echo where she can just say, Alexa, tell me about the buses.
No, but she has a government-provided cell phone.
Yep.
Which probably doesn't have a data plan. So if you want to Google something, you could either go to a public library, which Sarah does from time to time.
Which would require her to cross a road, thus increasing her chances of getting run over by one of those Chinese buses that doesn't have brakes, apparently.
Right, or she could just use her government phone to call a talk radio show and get us to Google things for her.
Can I say thanks, Obama?
Can I just say, this feels like some sort of long performance art project.
Like we're just gonna find out.
We're part of the Truman Show, but it's the Sarah Show.
Yeah, because I was reading something about how there's some Instagram influencer who's actually like a total made up fictional illustrated person, and they revealed that like slowly over time, and they basically write storylines for this character on Instagram, and she has like 1.5 million followers. So I feel like somebody out there is like writing this plot of Sarah's life with the buses, and now the electric buses from China, and now the brakes are defective, and it's all leading to something.
There's probably a hidden camera somewhere where they're just going to wind up, you're on Sarah camera.
Did you ever hear of the movie Windy City Heat? Anybody ever watch that?
Never heard of it. What's it about?
Basically, it is a story of a guy who is a little lacking in wits, but he's been in California. He wants to be an actor very, very badly.
All right.
And Jimmy Kimmel and Don Barris and Tony Barbieri began pranking him something like 10 or 15 years before the movie with the intent of this prank leading up to this movie, where they would let him know that he has been awarded a part as like the next huge superstar.
And was this over how many years?
About 10 years.
How many years has Sarah been calling?
That's a good question.
Ian, how many years has Sarah been calling?
Probably 4 or 5.
I highly recommend Windy City Heat. If you appreciate a good prank, this one's insane.
Okay, so I got my browser to come back up.
All right.
And it's November 13th. No, I don't want you to show me notifications.
Yep,
Sorry.
so
the
right
city
out a
of
month ago.
Yeah, the city of Albuquerque is pulling the plug on the Chinese manufacturer contracted to supply 60-foot electric buses for the much maligned and delayed Albuquerque Rapid Transit Project.
Much maligned.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll get into this a little bit more. Plus, the 5, what is it? The 5 best provisions or 5 important provisions?
5 we should all know about.
From the Farm Bill, and I'm guessing 4 of those have nothing to do with farming, plus your calls and thoughts. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
From the first letter of Captain Mark. History is full of flowery documents claiming to limit the power of the crown, but these poetic social contracts have been impotent to prevent the predation. Limited government is a lie they use to keep us submissive. The crown cannot be trusted to abide by its founding charters, nor its treaties, nor even its own rules. The essence of the crown is centralized violence, and I've had enough. That's why I raised my black banner. I am no revolutionary. My aim is not to reset the cycle of violence, but to break it. My aim is an evolved society, invisible to the crown, not a new hierarchy, but decentralized networks with no central figure for the crown to target. If you want your servile life, keep it, but we will not submit to the crown's agenda. And when you are ready to stop being its beast of burden, ready for adventure and opportunity, join us at pirateswithoutborders.com.
There are basically 2 types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
When do you want to spot that burglar? When he's casing your home or after he's in? Ask John, whose Blink camera alerted him of burglars trying to break in while his family was home. Or Shannon, whose Blink camera caught a package thief. Blink motion-activated cameras are wire-free, set up in minutes, and run on 2 AA batteries that last up to 2 years. Save up to a whopping 40% off all add-on cameras and systems through December 22nd while supplies last. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. That's how you can call in toll-free and join us, or you can go over to the Discord and use the Discord call-in lines over at discord.lrn.fm. And there's more than just the Discord call-in lines. There's also an app-only Discord chat room. And let me thank Derek, who is a Platinum amplifier. We've been thanking all of the amplifiers individually over the course of a couple of months now. And tonight, the amplifier that we are thanking is Derek. He's a Platinum, which means that he's giving at least $25 per month to the AMP program. We only ask for $5. And that $5, lumped with other people's $5, helps us do three things: advertise, market, and promote the show, specifically to program directors who make decisions to help add us to more radio stations. We'll also occasionally use some of that to try growing the audience, because that's also important. You can learn more about the AMP program over at amp.freetalklive.com. So before we get into the 5 provisions of the Farm Bill that everybody needs to know about, Jackie, you found some information about these supposed Chinese buses that Sarah had called in about. Turns out they're not actually made in China. They were made in California by the American subsidiary of a Chinese company.
Yes. So it says the city of Albuquerque is pulling the plug on the Chinese manufacturer contracted to supply 60-foot electric buses for the much maligned and delayed Albuquerque Rapid Transit Project. Mayor Tim Keller, meeting with journal editors and reporters Monday, announced the city's plans to reject and return all 15 of the electric buses manufactured by BYD, also known as Build Your Dreams. The buses are manufactured at the company's California-based North American subsidiary. So she was correct that they were Chinese buses and that they were being returned to California. Let's go down to where the problem. So skipping ahead, when we started running the buses on test runs, we found major problems with the battery range, the brakes, and some electrical issues, Keller said. They seem to be things that were already on the to-be-fixed list, but they started getting worse.
Okay, I'm sorry, but your propulsion system, your ability to stop, and in an electrical bus, a problem with the electronics.
Yeah, it says the range is less in the summer because the batteries overheat and then we can't charge them, he said.
Common issue.
Also said with the battery system, they are stacked in a metal shelf and when overheated could cause a fire. We believe that's not even close to adequate fire protection, he said. Right now, it would vent right in the middle of the bus and we would not be able to pull those out. They're already heating up so they can't take a charge. They're not properly stored or cooled. BYD also has failed to construct supplementary charging stations on the route, promised as part of an agreement with the city some months ago to address the problem with battery life. And there's more.
We're going to save
But
money.
wait, there's more.
Yeah, I mean, that's like a line for the article. ABQ ride mechanics discovered last month that the center and rear brakes on buses had zero air pressure, yet the vehicles were still able to move relying on front brakes alone. Other problems include the lack of undercarriage protection, buses that wouldn't stop when emergency doors were utilized, so you could just be falling out as the bus is going down the street, cracking on bus exteriors, mirrors not set up correctly, wiring problems, and, of great concern, the electric handicap chair lock becomes unsecure when the driver turns on the air conditioner.
Ah, there we go. So here you go. And this is what happens when government gets put in charge of something. In this case, it was simply acquiring electric buses because politicians said, we want to be green. I think that's what our voters want. So we're going to get green buses. They put together a committee made up of bureaucrats. They choose these buses.
No, they put out a request for proposal,
RFP, and then they're going to do bids.
The lowest bidder, most likely, that meets the requirements.
Exactly.
I could make a bus that doesn't have brakes, might catch on fire, and things are faulty when you turn on the air conditioner.
And nobody listening right now does everything by lowest bidder. I guarantee you there's been a point in your life where you needed a plumber or you needed something done around the house.
Right.
And you knew one of those guys and you think he's on meth or he smokes crack or he used to, and you're just not going to take that bid.
Yeah.
The government, not so much. If you have the prerequisite insurance and a couple other check boxes that they can do okay with, hey, you're in, you're good.
Yeah. There's a quote, and I don't know if it's true or if it's completely made up, but there's a quote that's attributed to I think it's John Glenn that says as he was I believe it says something along the lines of, as I was hurling through space, I kept thinking every part of this was supplied by the lowest bidder.
Yep, right down to those space shuttle O-rings.
Yeah.
So I guess some of the issues, because they're electric buses, there's another quote here from Bernie Toon, who's the director of ABQ Ride. Quote, there's a class of issues that are phantom electric issues that are incredibly difficult to fix because you have to literally start taking the bus apart to do it. You keep finding more problems. So unlike the non-electric buses where, the engine and several other parts are going to be, mechanical or
right.
based on running gas, the whole thing's electrical, and apparently it's like all wired together. Turning on the air conditioner disables the handicap chair lock.
This doesn't surprise me at all. Anybody who's worked or tried to work, if you're like a classical mechanic, like in the 70s or 80s, you took auto shop or something like that in school, and you figured out how a internal combustion engine works. If you were asked to work on a 2018 Toyota Camry, yeah, those parts are still there, but you can't really do anything with them without the proper diagnostic equipment to plug into the computer. There's no adjusting timing. There's no adjusting fuel like you used to be able to do on a carburetor. All that stuff's gone.
Right.
So it doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, there's another post from a local blogger that goes into much more detail and has even a link to the inspector report. And in that one, he quotes the mayor as saying the buses are, quote, unsafe at any speed. Like a callback to Nader.
Yeah, I was going to say, wasn't that
the Corvair?
Basically what Nader said about the Corvair?
Yeah.
The wheels on the bus go up in flames and do not stop. Oops, we're all dead now.
Yeah, and he's got more things that he picked out of the report. Bolts flying off doors. They were supposed to have a range of 275 miles, but they couldn't go more than 177 miles. So that's like a third less than they were supposed to, because the batteries overheat. Yeah, because it's hot.
Because it's New Mexico.
Well, these are all common issues with electric vehicles, and these are what, I would say the free market companies that are doing research in electric vehicles. None of those you hear about, because all you hear about are the subsidized companies that are doing everything, like Tesla and GM.
Now, here's something interesting. Apparently, the contract is the city doesn't have to pay the manufacturer till they're all delivered. So they haven't paid at all yet, but they've already received $75 million in federal grant money for it.
Of course they have.
So that's just sitting in the account, earning interest for the city if they can draw this process out.
Your calls and thoughts welcome about whatever is on your mind. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Trading involves financial risk and is not suitable for all investors.
Marijuana has unleashed a green gold rush across our nation. It's creating $10.8 billion in new wealth a year. And every day, it's transforming more and more Americans into millionaires. Former Speaker of the House John Boehner reveals how you could become one of them. Join him online for the American Cannabis Summit. Attendance is 100% free, but space is limited. Join online at www.acs2018.com. John Boehner and an esteemed panel will reveal which cannabis stocks are primed to deliver life-changing windfalls. Plus, they will show you how to become a cannabis angel investor, backing the hottest startups before they potentially become worth billions of dollars.
To join the American Cannabis Summit, visit acs2018.com or text JOIN to 76280. Don't miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Text JOIN to 76280. Text JOIN to 76280 now.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Your calls and thoughts welcome about whatever is on your mind. And, of course, there's also the Discord call-in lines over at discord.lrn.fm, and that's how you can call in and join us. The us in studio tonight is Darryl,
Chris,
and Jackie.
And was there anything else on the Albuquerque rapid thing about their messed up buses?
There is so much more. So this guy, Pete Dinelli, I guess he's a former city council person in Albuquerque, and now he has a blog, and he's even more obsessed with the Albuquerque buses than Sarah is. So
all right,
I will send you the link to put out on our Twitter, etc. because it's just amazing, and now I understand why she calls about the buses so much.
Yeah. So, Chris, do you have that story about the 5 important things that were in the Farm Bill? Probably most of them don't actually have anything to do with farming.
Well, yeah, a few of them that they brought up, but like you said, and like we've been talking about, a lot of things like the Yemen portions that were in there.
Right.
So basically, can you refresh for me, because I'm trying to remember, was this the Massey amendment that was put in here?
I don't think Thomas Massey would put in an amendment saying that the U.S. House would not vote on the Yemen war. That's what wound up passing. Is
so
a provision saying that they will not vote on the Yemen war before the end of the year.
Right. So what I was referring to, I think, was an attempt by Massey was to strike that.
Correct.
But they couldn't get that done. So now it's
right. And some people might ask the question of why is that important? Well, because the Senate is voting, I think they actually voted earlier today to actually direct the president to stop assisting the Saudis in the bombing of Yemen.
Right.
But if the House isn't going to take it up,
right,
then that means it's got to wait until the next Congress, which goes in on, January 3rd? Which, all right, it's 3 more weeks, but then you start all of the bureaucratic hurdles again of somebody has to file it, and then it's got to go to a committee, and then it's got to come before the House, and then we've got to vote again on whether to have debate on this, and then we have to vote to end debate, and then we have to do this and this and this other thing, and it might never actually come up for a vote.
So, this article is from KOMO, which I think's out of Washington State. I'm not sure. But it just, the title was, and it kind of grabbed me, 5 things that you should know about the Farm Bill and how it affects you. The first one that they bring up is SNAP, and a lot of people sit there and go, SNAP? I know that's a government program. It's food stamps.
Right.
SNAP is food stamps.
Right, and you get food from farms, so therefore it's related to the Farm Bill.
One could say that, or one could say that giving away money or value to anyone because they claim to have a need has nothing to do with farming.
Right.
Yet, what this bill will do is it doesn't add any requirement, which Trump has talked about a lot, that if you're going to accept food, if you're going to receive food stamps, you have to work. It also lists support for locally grown foods and locally grown goods. So your local farmers market is going to get a big boost in the coming years. Now, this is coming from somebody who operates a shop whose primary existence is to promote local goods.
Right.
And in a big economic picture, that makes no sense whatsoever. It does for me because I am trying to entice my neighbors into buying other things from my neighbors, and as they do so, I make a couple bucks along the way.
Right.
But economically speaking, we shouldn't be looking at things that way. We should look at who has the most advantage and can provide the best product for the best price.
I do want to note, now, of course, all good libertarians will object to SNAP because it's taking money and redistributing it to other people. But as far as government welfare programs go, most economists consider SNAP to be one of the most effective ones in terms of the actual help that it provides and the economic stimulus. So I would think, even as a libertarian, I would consider it one of the least bad programs that we have.
That is no praise from me.
Yeah, as I said, as a good libertarian, I object to it, but I object to it less.
It's the best thing you can say is it's not as bad as the rest of it. No, it's still redistribution of wealth, and it's wrong. It's not that it could be. I'll tell you what, it could be really efficient. It could produce identifiable economic gains. And I'd still object to it because it's morally wrong.
Yeah, but
it's a moral. No, forget about economics and everything else. It's just morally wrong.
But I would say so many other programs not only have the same problem with their redistributing wealth, but they actually create perverse incentives and other things that keep people poor and damage the economy. Whereas this is basically, since everybody has to eat, it's as close to basically handing people money as most government programs are going to get. And economists agree, if you want to help poor people, don't make them jump through hoops or set various price controls or whatnot. Just give them money.
I think you could also say that most communist dictators have said, if you really want to control the people, control whether they have food.
Oh, I mean, that's before
extend them bread lines.
It is the deepest way one could possibly control a population would be to control their caloric intake.
Oh yeah, I mean that
it's a live or die thing.
That predates communism, as we know it, by thousands of years. Like there have always been corn laws. Like some of the earliest economic regulations ever created by governments, back in the day of emperors and kings, related to the export and import of grain.
Right.
Because, you're right. Like if you want to control people, control the food or control the food supply. Some people do that to control the people. Some people do it for national security. But you're absolutely right. And it way, way, way predates communism.
Yep. Other things that are in the Farm Bill, legalize hemp, which we just discussed.
Yep.
And it's a real question at this point whether the term legalized hemp is even remotely accurate because we have no idea how the DEA or the states are going to react to this. Expanded trade opportunities, because this is always a big deal on farms. I say that somewhat seriously because where I grew up in Eastern Oregon, do you know where our wheat went?
Across state lines.
Yeah.
So therefore interstate commerce, and so therefore Congress can regulate. But even if it didn't go across state lines,
Filburn,
they could still regulate because then it's not going across state lines, so you're not buying the wheat from Idaho.
In the late 70s and the early 80s, our wheat was taken to the Columbia River, placed on a barge, taken to Portland where it was loaded onto big ships, and it went to Vladivostok. All of the wheat that we produced where I was at, for the most part, all went to Russia.
Russian bread lines.
During the Cold War, because that was one of the things that the U.S. government was trying to do to stabilize the whole situation. The problem was Russians were dying left and right.
Yeah, when they collectivized the farmland in the Ukraine and millions of people starved to death.
With some of the best, most fertile ground on this planet.
Yeah.
That is the Ukraine. And finally now,
Venezuela,
if they could not have wars and attempts or fighting between the Ukraine and Russia, they could realize more of the benefits of that.
Yeah, very, very few famines are due to natural causes. They're almost always some sort of political and economic cause where... And again, and the thing that sucks is we address famines by giving people food in other countries, and that actually destroys the local farming economy, because how are you going to sell the food you make on your farm when they can get it for free? So again, the best thing that we could do for famine-stricken people in other countries is just give them money. And if people have money, they'll find a way to import food, and then that money will turn around and go to local farmers when they're able to get their crops going again.
Still got to
not intervene.
A few more provisions.
Nothing surprising. The last two things are, it's just one word: more subsidies.
Of course, more subsidies. That's two words. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Your calls and thoughts about whatever is on your mind. This is Free Talk Live.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, the inventor of MyPillow, and like all of you out there, I had problems sleeping. Pillows would go flat, I would flip-flop all night long, I would wake up with a sore neck, maybe a headache, or feel like I needed a nap even though I slept 8 hours. When I invented MyPillow, I wanted it to where you can move the patented fill to give you the exact support you need as an individual, regardless of sleep position. MyPillow will get you into that deep sleep faster, and you will stay there longer. It's not about how much time we spend in bed, it's about how much of that quality sleep we get. I do all of my own manufacturing right here in the United States. I have a 10-year warranty. You can wash and dry MyPillow, and I give you a 60-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose.
And here's Mike's best offer ever. MyPillow is now offering 50% off their 4-pack special plus free shipping. Go to MyPillow.com or call 800-951-5617 and use promo code FTL. That's 50% off plus free shipping. Don't delay. Order now.
Trading involves financial risk. It is not suitable for all investors.
Marijuana has unleashed a green gold rush across our nation. It's creating $10.8 billion in new wealth a year. And every day, it's transforming more and more Americans into millionaires. Former Speaker of the House John Boehner reveals how you could become one of them. Join him online for the American Cannabis Summit. Attendance is 100% free, but space is limited. Join online at www.acs2018.com. John Boehner and an esteemed panel will reveal which cannabis stocks are primed to deliver life-changing windfalls. Plus, they will show you how to become a cannabis angel investor, backing the hottest startups before they potentially become worth billions of dollars.
To join the American Cannabis Summit, visit acs2018.com or text JOIN to 76280. Don't miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Text JOIN to 76280. Text JOIN to 76280 now.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio tonight, it's Darryl,
Chris,
and Jackie.
And before we change gears and talk a little bit about Venezuela, because who doesn't love a good dumpster fire? Yeah, that's basically what Venezuela is, right? It's a dumpster fire. It's a slow-motion train wreck, and
it just keeps getting worse.
It's getting worse, and there's a story that, sadly, not a happy story out of Venezuela. We'll get into it in just a second. But first, I want to make sure that I tell you about Liberty.menu. Liberty.menu is a directory of liberty-minded businesses, events, digital content, and more. Listings can be rated and reviewed, and there's also a bit of a social networking aspect that means that you can connect and share with other users. Use of Liberty.menu is exclusively for individuals who reject the initiation of force and those who agree to abide by the ethics of the non-aggression principle. Put your voluntarist actions, or rather put your voluntarist ideas into action at Liberty.menu and use code FTL to get a special Free Talk Live listener badge. Now, we can't give you a discount because the site is free to use, but again, we can give you that badge for the profile. Liberty.menu, code FTL. So, what is the latest out of Venezuela? Apparently, Goodyear Tires has decided to stop making tires in Venezuela, according to multiple reports. The latest in a line of companies to pull out of the crisis-stricken South American country.
Well, Darryl, aren't they? They're made out of rubber and plastics, and I'm not sure. Do you need oil to make tires? I think it's petroleum-based, right?
Maybe, and then there's also the steel-belted radials.
So you need steel, but I think that the big part of that is going to be petroleum-based products, and Venezuela doesn't really have any. Wait. They do.
They have like the second largest petroleum reserves in the world.
So basically,
it's a tropical climate, which means that they should be able to grow food year round.
You would think,
but instead they're having, when there are crops, they're rotting on the vine, and other times they've just got like barren fields that should be planted. But they're not.
So how bad does a system of government need to be to basically take a tropical paradise? And Venezuela's always been one of those places where, man, you can grow anything down here. And the raw materials, I mean, you're tripping over them. The second largest oil reserves in the world. How wealthy could that make you? How badly does your system of government have to be to squander all that?
In economics, we call this the resource curse. So there's actually a correlation between having really ample natural resources in a country and bad results, like lower democracy, lower economic development, because, they're basically kind of got this natural endowment. They didn't have to build anything. They just have to pull it out of the earth. And there's never much of an incentive to figure out how to build a business, run an economy, govern well, because there's just sort of free money waiting there to be picked out of the ground.
Right.
And
but
it's like
Alaska's
an
not
actual known
a socialist hellhole.
Yeah, but Alaska's only a tiny part of the overall U.S. economy.
Right, but every man, woman, and child in Alaska, from what I understand, winds up getting some kind of stipend every year because of the oil.
It's not that much. It's, let me look up what it is. It's like a couple hundred or maybe a couple thousand at the most.
Couple thousand, but
let's compare that to the rest of the United States.
The state of Alaska, they wind up, it's basically, here's a bunch of free money.
And I think
it's a net positive.
I think given the cost of like groceries and having goods delivered there, it probably mostly just balances out the higher cost of living.
And I'll bet it's not even close. But the point is that you have two systems of government at work. You have communism, socialism, whatever flavor you want to call Venezuela today. And then you have, an oligarchy like we have in the United States. And at least the oligarchs allow us to have something of our own right now until they get tired of that.
Now, there is one thing, and, we've got a chronic caller who, if you were listening earlier, she called in about buses. She's called in about various socialist countries before. And she does make a good point that things are worse in Venezuela because of U.S. sanctions against Venezuela.
Didn't help.
That's not to say that things would be absolutely wonderful absent the sanctions.
And it wasn't caused by our sanctions.
Right. But, yes, we do have to admit that the U.S. government is not helping anything by imposing sanctions, because sanctions don't hurt the person that's the tyrant. sanctions hurt the people like the people that were working at Goodyear that are now out of a job.
Right.
I've got a great quote here. I'm looking at the Wikipedia page on the resource curse, which is like a whole area of study in development economics. Like, this is such a known thing. It's a former Venezuelan oil minister, Juan Pablo Perez Alfonso. 1976, he said, quote, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, you will see oil will bring us ruin. It is the devil's excrement. Like, he called it, because this is historically throughout time, this keeps happening in countries that are really, really rich in natural resources.
No.
Almost all of them have problems.
Now, Venezuela, and I say, okay, you came up with a lot of money and you wanted to make sure you stayed really popular, so you started giving away all sorts of money through all sorts of government programs. That's the problem, that you adopted the philosophy. I think set upon the United States, we don't really think of it because we're not a major, we're not in the news all the time for our oil exports, even though we produce tons. We're ridiculously rich in resources.
But spread out over a much larger area and with, much more diversified ownership. Like, Saudi Arabia is not a socialist country. It has a very, very rich ruling class. And then other than that, like, most development measures are terrible. Women's rights are terrible. There's very little democracy.
An authoritarian state.
Very few human rights. So there's just this tendency in areas where there's just a lot of wealth, in natural resources, and not in like other forms of capital, like manufacturing or human capital, training and education. When it's easy to just you control this little bit right here for you to have some kind of authoritarian regime.
I think a very wealthy a country that is very wealthy in natural resources with a smaller population would be a much more tempting target for an authoritarian to want to assume control over.
Yeah, because if the U.S. is such a big country and its natural resources are very well spread out. In a lot of places, it's just a small geographical area that they're concentrated in. And so if you can take over the places where the oil is...
This seems like something that would be really interesting, and we're not going to have time to do tonight, to take a look at the Human Freedom Index that's put out by Cato, the Simon Fraser Institute, and a couple other organizations around the world, and then look at those countries that rank the most free and see how they rank as far as size goes versus the countries that are least free.
Right.
And then also look at other things like total export, like what are the exports of the freest countries.
Right.
I know that New Zealand ranks fairly high, but I couldn't tell you anything other than kiwis that might even come from New Zealand.
The key words, if anybody wants to look this up, resource curse. Because it's a whole area of study in the field of development economics.
I'll dig into that. But I think there's also deeper issues that have to do with a society. And, I certainly don't believe it's still true. I don't believe that the United States is still blessed with the ideas and the ideals of the American Revolution. But I do think at some level...
Of course not. 240 years ago, tea got thrown in Boston Harbor because of a 3-cent tax.
Nah.
And now, the average American tax burden somewhere between 40 to 60%. And they're like, oh, yeah, give me more, Trump.
Right.
Give me more.
Meanwhile, we're being, at least demonstration-wise, we're being shown up by the French. Who would have thought that would have happened? But I think there may be a different mindset.
Dude.
Yeah, I know. Bring back the guillotine. I think we should have one on the steps of Capitol Hill to be used sparingly.
Your calls and thoughts welcome, plus more out of Venezuela. 855-450 free. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Trading involves financial risk and is not suitable for all investors.
Marijuana has unleashed a green gold rush across our nation. It's creating $10.8 billion in new wealth a year. And every day, it's transforming more and more Americans into millionaires. Former Speaker of the House John Boehner reveals how you could become one of them. Join him online for the American Cannabis Summit. Attendance is 100% free, but space is limited. Join online at www.acs2018.com. John Boehner and an esteemed panel will reveal which cannabis stocks are primed to deliver life-changing windfalls. Plus, they will show you how to become a cannabis angel investor, backing the hottest startups before they potentially become worth billions of dollars.
To join the American Cannabis Summit, visit acs2018.com or text JOIN to 76280. Don't miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Text JOIN to 76280. Text JOIN to 76280 now.
Did you know that Free Aid is a mutual aid, educational, and networking organization? At Free Aid, we support volunteers who provide first aid. We do outreach to the public about health and safety, and we bring together medically skilled freedom lovers. Free Aid is made possible by your generous support. Donors can receive great gifts like first aid kits, t-shirts, silver dime cards, and hoodies. The Free Aid Silver Dime Card Project is sponsored in part by Roberts & Roberts Brokerage, Freedom's Phoenix, and Don't Tread on Meme. Visit fr33aid.com.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, December 13th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.72 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,244 per ounce. Zen is trading at $5, and the average price of Bitcoin is $3,452. Antiwar.com reports in a long-anticipated vote, the Senate finally had their motion to proceed on the Yemen war resolution, with Senator Bernie Sanders introducing the motion at 3 o'clock on Wednesday. The vote passed 60-39. This opens the Senate up to debate and ultimately vote on the resolution calling for an end to U.S. involvement in the Saudi-led war in Yemen. This marks the second vote that the Senate has had this month to advance the resolution. While the vote went largely as expected, Senator Bob Corker was a surprise defector, voting no on the motion. Corker had opposed previous moves to end the Yemen war, but had backed the idea in recent weeks, citing the Saudi murder of Jamal Khashoggi as his turning point. Proceeding to the resolution is no guarantee that it will pass the Senate. There are a number of additional obstacles that could be thrown up, and those voting to proceed may not, in fact, vote for the resolution itself. Even if it passes the Senate, there likely won't be any concurrent resolution in the House until next year, as the House leadership has once again made a last-second rule change in an unrelated bill to block any challenges to the Yemen war. Born into a devastating world and raised among the crowd, the Cloudwalker assumes a new identity and begins the unrelenting quest for truth. In this epic journey, he discovers dark secrets about aspects of his previous life that he once trusted. Through the Journal of the Cloudwalker, he shares both the traumatic hardships and the eternal beauties of his experiences. Dear Society by the Cloudwalker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports insurance claims from the recent spate of California wildfires, including one ranked as the most deadly and destructive in state history, have topped $9 billion and are expected to grow, according to the state insurance commissioner on Wednesday. The claims so far fall short of the record $12 billion in wildfire-related insured losses sustained in California in 2017, most of that from more than a dozen blazes that swept a large swath of wine country north of San Francisco Bay that killed 46 people. This year, the Camp wildfire that erupted on November 8th has accounted for the bulk of the claims, just over $7 billion in total. The casualty toll stands as the greatest loss of life from a single wildfire on record in California and the highest from any U.S. wildfire during the past century. The insurance commissioner put preliminary insurance claims from the Woolsey and Hill fires combined at more than $2 billion, bringing the total of all three of last month's blazes to $9.05 billion. The tally reflects losses for residential and commercial coverage, as well as for motor vehicles, agriculture, machinery, and other assets. The numbers released on Wednesday stem from almost 40,000 separate claims, more than a fourth of which represent total losses. Most of those, 10,564, were for personal residential property, but the figure does not include billions of dollars in potential losses faced by Pacific Gas and Electric in the event that the utility's electrical equipment is ultimately found to have caused the Camp Fire. PG&E has said its liability could exceed its insurance coverage if that happens. Zencash has changed their name to Horizon to better represent their transition from a cryptocurrency to a pioneering platform that protects consumer data. They're working towards the day when anyone will be able to build privacy-based applications on the Horizon platform. The unique spelling of Horizon is a nod to their heritage and recognizes that they remain committed to the vision that their project was built upon. Learn more at horizon.global and join the Horizon community. HORIZEN.global. Antiwar.com reports progress has been made in the Yemeni peace talks being held in Sweden, and while there is growing doubt that there will be time to finalize every issue, some new deals were finalized on Wednesday. The biggest aspect of this deal will be the reopening of the Sana'a International Airport, albeit only to domestic flights. Under the deal, all international flights to Houthi-held Sana'a have to stop in the Saudi-dominated city of Aden for a security check. This was the deal pro-Saudi factions had before, but with an important difference. They'd wanted the rights to unconditionally search all Sana'a-bound flights, but now the UN will be conducting any security-related searches. Somewhat less important, there has been a deal to resume oil and gas exports from Yemen, which would bring in some badly needed money for the central bank. Yemen is, however, a fairly small exporter, even in the best of times, so this isn't exactly going to bring much relief to their failing economy. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Japan grants suffrage to female robots, and a hypochondriac maple tree is always convinced it has Asian longhorn beetles. The following two statements are true. The previous statement is false, and this is the Onion Week in Review. This week, Americans nationwide were stunned to hear horrific allegations on Wall Street revealing that numerous junior bankers have been forced to survive on a mere $6,800 per week. The findings, which implicate numerous high-profile financial institutions such as Bank of America, Morgan Stanley, and Citibank, suggest that hundreds of first-year bankers are constantly deprived of basic necessities, including penthouse apartments overlooking Central Park and regular company-financed vacations to the French Riviera.
Many of these bankers are 23 or 24 years old and don't even have access to an expense account of over $50,000 a year. Not only that, but some of them are making as little as 20 times minimum wage. I mean, this is truly disgraceful.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. There's still more from the Venezuela story that we started covering in the last hour. We actually got one full sentence into the story before we got diverted and just talked about, Jackie, you're referring to this as...
the term in economics is the resource curse, which is the correlation between countries that are rich in natural resources and export a lot of natural resources and poor outcomes with regards to human rights, democracy, and other non-resource related economic development.
Yeah, right. And I started looking into the Human Freedom Index. Switzerland exports a lot of chocolate and army knives.
So those are manufactured goods. They're not natural resources.
Right. Clocks.
Again,
manufactured resources.
But like you have to grow the chocolate to be able to
they don't
export.
Grow that in Switzerland.
See,
what?
Cocoa beans?
Hold on, Swiss chocolate doesn't actually come from Switzerland?
Oh, dear.
Cocoa beans are from the Americas, honey.
Yep. South America.
My entire world is a lie.
And the Middle Americas.
Did you miss like the day they covered like the Aztecs and the Mayans?
Like, I knew that the Aztecs and the Mayans had chocolate.
So how did
and
you...
that there's recorded documentation about prostitutes being paid with cocoa beans, so there is a connection between chocolate and sex. But I did not know that chocolate could not be grown in Europe.
Maybe it can be, but I don't know how much people do grow it in Europe.
Swiss chocolate.
I will have to
know
look
is
up.
a thing.
It is a thing,
but
it's
you know,
absurd.
like looking at some of these other countries in the top 5 of this Human Freedom Index, and we will get to the phones in just a second. Other countries in the top 5: Hong Kong, New Zealand, Ireland, Australia. Not countries that are necessarily known for their exports of anything.
Right. And I think...
other than Lord of the Rings movies.
Well, yeah, and I think there is something to this, that if governments can become very rich and powerful simply off of their natural resources, then that is going to attract, like government does everywhere, the worst people to government. And those people, if you control a government where you have 500 Google zillions worth of oil, then it's going to be awfully tempting to be a good ruler, because you don't have to be.
And countries at the bottom of the list: Syria, Venezuela, in reverse order here: Syria, Venezuela, Libya, Yemen, Egypt, Iran, Algeria.
Right.
What do all those countries have?
Oil and basically tyrants running the countries.
Yep.
Let's go to the phones, where we've got Brian calling in from California. Brian, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Hey, I was just calling on a positive note for the Farm Bill with them testing organics. It goes back to that foodborne diseases that have been in like the lettuce and that type of stuff.
Okay.
A lot of states are doing anaerobic digesting, where it's a process to get the methane gases released out of the organics, but you get the highest number of butane levels out of that food. But they're there's E. coli and those types of diseases when they're mixing it back into a mixture of green waste. In the state, state of California is doing this. Many other states are doing organic laws, and so with them they're supposed to be testing it and making sure.
And you said there was something about this in that Farm Bill that passed?
Yeah, well, they're going to be testing doing studies on the organics, which hopefully they'll figure that out, because they're not requiring any of these anaerobic digesters, where the state's been giving out a bunch of money through the Cal Recycle organic waste program.
And now the money's coming from the feds for this?
Well, no, you said with the Farm Bill, they'll be putting money into that.
Correct. Yeah, part of the Farm Bill, and we didn't get into any detail on this little article I pulled up, but it was support for locally grown goods. A lot of that money is going to go towards, organic foods and doubling of funding, positive impact on local. Yeah, it's the same stuff. To me, again, my objections are economic, and I think it's just money wasted. But like this gentleman is discussing, there are probably unintended consequences to throwing a bunch of money at a state to say, make us more green, give us more organic food, because Whole Foods sells lots of that.
Right. And Brian, thank you for the call. Something else where there's a lot of wasted money is in corn ethanol.
Yeah, that is huge. And we didn't really even touch on the levels of subsidies. We just kind of jokingly said more subsidies, because there's always more subsidies. But the 2018 Farm Bill authorizes $400 billion worth of agricultural subsidies over the next 10 years. Now that, $400 billion probably doesn't sound like a lot of money to people anymore, because it's, now we talk about deficits and debts in trillions. You know, we're talking about approaching $500 billion over 10 years. That's a sizable amount of money for producers, primarily of corn, sugar, wheat, cotton, and soybeans. These subsidies can go either one of two ways. It's either going to support your prices, so farmers always get it, and the U.S. taxpayer pays it at the grocery store and gets a check from the government, or it will be to remove production, so you're being paid not to produce, which still happens.
Right.
So during the break, we were talking about just the amount of subsidies received by your hometown, which I think you said has a population of 250 people.
Ballpark.
And they're getting, we added it up just from people you knew to 7.5 million. And so that's like $30,000 per person. Not all of them are even in the farm business necessarily, but I mean, there's just this huge influx of money coming into this small town.
Right. Well, I don't think anybody thinks of Ted Turner as a farmer, but he gets millions of dollars in farm subsidies every year because he has a lot of land in Montana.
Yeah, and without naming names, but I just
I'll name Ted Turner by name. I don't care.
He doesn't want to name his old neighbors by name.
Oh, all right.
Seriously, and I don't want to name some of my cousins by name, but honestly, I mean, that's a huge amount of money. Go into a very small town and multiply that across every rural county in the United States, every rural town that has farming.
Now you said cousin. There's an opportunity for you here because one of the outraged editorials I was reading about this farm bill mentions that they've expanded to extended family members who all from a family farm can apply for subsidies, and so they've extended it now to include cousins, I believe. And you don't have to live or work on the farm.
So I could just say, I want my government check too?
Yep.
You don't know me well, do you?
I don't. I'm just saying you could.
I know what you're saying, yeah.
Get some money back. And it was something like it was over $100,000 per person was possible. So go through your records, add up everything you've ever paid in income tax, Social Security, and Medicare, and ask for it back.
There's a lot of Reitmans in my hometown, and they all farm.
Yeah. So now
I
that
could triple, quadruple dip, and I'd just be set for life.
Just get your money back.
If I had no self-respect.
Well, if somebody steals money from you,
I don't.
Is it theft to steal it back?
That's always the argument libertarians love to debate, and I just don't want to play that game.
It is a lot of paperwork.
I understand that, and there's so many programs I've qualified. I was in the military, there's just lots of things I could do to get money back or to get a benefit or things like that, and it feels wrong to me. And I don't belittle people who do it, and I understand that argument because there is a certain sense to it. It's just it's one that I can't swallow, and I don't know why that is. I just need to fix that. I just need to get on the government teat. TEAT.
Your calls and thoughts welcome. Plus, hopefully we'll get back into this Venezuela story that we've, again, gotten one sentence into.
Are we at 2 now or still at the first?
No, still at the first.
Okay,
about
good.
the Goodyear tire shop shutting down in Venezuela. This is Free Talk Live, 855 450 free.
When do you want to spot that burglar? When he's casing your home or after he's in? Ask John, whose Blink camera alerted him of burglars trying to break in while his family was home. Or Shannon, whose Blink camera caught a package thief. Blink motion-activated cameras are wire-free, set up in minutes, and run on 2 AA batteries that last up to 2 years. Save up to a whopping 40% off all add-on cameras and systems through December 22nd while supplies last. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
Bitcoin.com is delighted to announce their latest partnership with the gift card specialists at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, it is now easier than ever to get the gift cards of your favorite brands with Bitcoin Cash. To get started, just follow these simple steps. Visit giftcards.bitcoin.com, pick the gift card you want, follow the instructions on your screen, and make your payment using your Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight and your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, the inventor of MyPillow, and like all of you out there, I had problems sleeping. Pillows would go flat, I would flip-flop all night long, I would wake up with a sore neck, maybe a headache, or feel like I needed a nap even though I slept 8 hours. When I invented MyPillow, I wanted it to where you could move the patented fill to give you the exact support you need as an individual, regardless of sleep position. My Pillow will get you into that deep sleep faster, and you will stay there longer. It's not about how much time we spend in bed. It's about how much of that quality sleep we get. I do all of my own manufacturing right here in the United States. I have a 10-year warranty. You can wash and dry My Pillow, and I give you a 60-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose.
And here's Mike's best offer ever. My Pillow is now offering 50% off their 4-pack special plus free shipping. Go to mypillow.com or call 800-951-5617 and use promo code FTL. That's 50% off plus free shipping. Don't delay. Order now.
Republicans back a plan for universal lawn care. And an RC car works up the courage to approach a group of girls. And now a recap of the week's news for those who like to waste their summers surfing the internet. Fall, the long-running series of shorter days and cooler nights, was canceled this week after nearly 3 billion seasons on Earth. The classic period of the year, which once occupied the coveted slot between summer and winter, will be replaced by new stifling humidity levels and near-constant sunshine. A shiny, bobbing object in the water is generating fascination among members of the fish community, who have described it as pleasingly wiggly and minnow-esque. Aquatic experts say that decisive action must be taken against the object very soon. In local news, just when 27-year-old Andrew Sheets didn't think his vacation could get any better, a rerun of Spin City came on. And in other headlines, a bee stuck between the screen and front door is going f***ing nuts. And a water skier lets go of the crossbar to greet those not currently water skiing.
This is the Onion News Network.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And it's Bitmas. Did you know, Chris, that it was Bitmas?
I had heard that it was Bitmas.
The 10 days of Bitmas are coming to a close tomorrow. And the special offer today for those of you that use Bitcoin, head over to store.bitcoin.com, and they're offering 35% off all swag and hardware wallets, as well as a special gift with all orders when you use the code MARYBITMAS, MERRYBITMAS, MARYBITMAS. Again, over at the Bitcoin store from bitcoin.com, and there's also all kinds of news that you will find over at bitcoin.com. And I'm not sure if that's where the story about Venezuela putting all pensions on the Petro, but no, I know that bitcoin.com has covered the Petro.
Yes, absolutely.
And we'll get into that here in just a moment. But jumping back into the article about Goodyear Tire deciding to close down their shop in Venezuela, where they had been making tires for some amount of time as part of a severance package. And this is really the surprising part, is that the employees are getting a severance package, and the severance package is tires. 10 of them.
Unfortunately,
Well,
do they have any ships that are still floating and allowed
I think
to
they're
export?
floating, but they're not allowed to do anything.
Right, so you can't really sell them elsewhere, for example, to countries where it have populations that have money.
Well, you could sneak across the border into Colombia.
You could. Colombians will put one over your head and then pour gasoline over your body.
Now, I do want to note that the tires are in addition to their legally mandated severance pay that they have to give their employees. But yeah, if they can't get the tires out of the country regardless, why not?
Right.
I mean, they're just going to sit there and rot, or the government will come along and nationalize the factory because, as we were talking about, they made it illegal to close things and use that as an excuse to seize the business.
Yep. Right. There was the story a couple of years ago about what was referred to as Socialist Barbie, where there was, I love the look of confusion on your face. There was a Barbie doll that was made for Venezuela, and well, because the inflation rate is somewhere hovering in the 1,000,000% now
annually,
the cost of said Barbie wound up being higher than what the federal or whatever, I think they consider it a federal government there in Venezuela, but the Venezuelan government said, you must sell this for this amount.
Yes.
It doesn't matter that is less than what your cost was. You must sell this.
Yeah, there was a whole Christmas season where they were listing the prices of every toy.
Right. And then, I think one of the toy store owners said no, and then the government just came in and took all of the toys and then gave them to kids in Caracas.
Yes.
So every little boy and girl in Caracas got a socialist Barbie for Christmas one year.
Yep. What's great is if you Google socialist Barbie, there's the stuff from 2014, but also
pictures of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Yep. She is now messing up.
Too easy.
Yeah, no, seriously, apparently people are calling her socialist Barbie too now. So I'm just very amused that since she's been elected, she's now messing up the search results for socialist Barbie.
Hey, all I've got to say is people are saying she needs to keep her mouth shut. I am speaking to you as a national syndicated radio host. No, she needs to keep talking because she will be entertainment and learning lessons for the next 20 years.
I want her to keep her mouth shut because we have the same degree and she is making mine worthless.
Oh,
honey. All bachelor's degrees are becoming worthless.
Yes, but it used to be if you had a bachelor's degree in economics, nobody knew what that meant because you can't be an economist without a master's or PhD.
Right.
So if you just have a bachelor's degree in it, nobody knew what that meant, but they thought it's kind of like finance or accounting, right? And so you could slip into jobs that say accounting or finance or related degree required.
Right.
Now that she's running around and saying all the stuff she's saying.
We need to invent things that haven't been invented yet.
Yeah, and bragging. Well, no, I mean, we do need to invent things that haven't been invented yet. It's just a bad way to put it. I mean, innovation is good.
Yes.
But yeah, by running around and not only saying all this crap, but also talking about how, she knows what she's talking about because she's got a bachelor's degree in economics. I'm like, no, please stop. People used to think that meant I knew things.
So let's jump back to Venezuela. Employees, or rather the former employees of Goodyear in the city of Valencia, showed up to work at the company's plant and discovered a letter posted to the door that, according to Bloomberg, said Goodyear Venezuela has been forced to cease operations. An employee confirmed to Bloomberg that more than 1,200 employees were being laid off as a result of the move. Edouard Brimo, a member of Goodyear's Factory Workers Union, said that the company is paying severance packages to more than 1,200 employees and giving each 10 tires, which are hugely valuable in shortage-racked Venezuela. According to Brimo, the plant produced about 1,000 tires a day, but a lack of materials and soaring cost forced it to shut its doors. At first blush, doling out an additional 10 tires on top of legally mandated severance payments may seem strange, but as Reuters points out, they told enormous value amid chronic shortages in Venezuela. Economic conditions in the country have deteriorated in recent years, leading major companies to close up shop. Ford, for example, began offering buyouts last week to employees at its operation in Venezuela. Goodyear confirmed the closure in a statement to The Hill and pinned blame for the decision on economic conditions in Venezuela and U.S. sanctions on the country. Goodyear told The Hill via statement, Goodyear Venezuela has made the difficult decision to stop producing tires. Our goal has been to maintain its operations, but economic conditions and U.S. sanctions have made that impossible.
So I'm just trying to see any light at the end of the tunnel for the Venezuelan people. I just don't. The more the poorer that the government down there acts, the poorer that the results of the inevitable results of these socialist programs and centralized government become. And the more you're going to have idiots like Donald Trump who are going to do the exact opposite of what should be done.
Right. And there's going to be somebody somewhere that is screaming at the radio right now saying, well, just vote the bombs out. Well, in theory, that's good in theory, but when you have an election system like they have in Venezuela, where everybody that is opposed to Nicolas Maduro is prevented from running against Nicolas Maduro,
he's pretty much a shoo-in, I think.
You can't really vote the bums out.
There you go.
Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Plus, there's some news about the Petro, and it ain't good.
Want revenge on the common housefly? Well, after 10,000 years, someone has finally come up with a better way. The Bug Assault, a miniaturized shotgun, which utilizes ordinary table salt as ammunition. Non-toxic and no batteries required. So much fun, you'll forget you have a wife and kids. Makes the perfect stocking stuffer. Get your Bug Assault today and save $10 on the Bug Beam Laser Combo, only at bugassault.com.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Nestle Toll House Refrigerated Cookie Dough. Who would you bake some love for? Find fun and easy baking ideas at tollhouse.com. Kids love doing arts and crafts projects, especially when you join in. Try channeling all that artistic energy into the kitchen and bake up some creative treats together. Think of your art supplies as the frosting, sprinkles, and decorating gels, and use cookies or cupcakes as your canvas. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on-demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long-distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
My name is Angel Rach. I'm a mother of 2 teenage children, and I fought all the way to the Supreme Court for the right to use the medicine that saved my life. I've been permanently disabled for 10 years, with an inoperable brain tumor, wasting syndrome, and several other serious conditions. For 4 years, I was in a wheelchair, in so much pain, I couldn't even hug my kids. The hardest part was looking in their eyes and seeing how much they were suffering because of my medical condition. The medicine that gave me my life back and gave my kids their mom back was cannabis, also known as medical marijuana. With medical marijuana, I can walk, maintain my weight, and I can be a mom. Without it, my doctors believe that I would die. To learn more about medical marijuana, contact Marijuana Policy Project at 1-877-JOIN-MPP or on the web at mpp.org.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio tonight, it's Darryl,
Chris,
and Jackie.
And we've been sort of all over the place talking about the legalization, supposedly, of industrial hemp, how the DEA might still wind up considering industrial hemp to be a Schedule I controlled substance because, well, reasons. And then the Chinese buses in New Mexico that are actually Californian buses, but they're made by a company that is owned by a Chinese company. Basically, somebody called in and was like, I heard a thing. And, well, yeah, all of those words were in the news story, just not in that order.
I think any of our regular listeners will automatically go, that must have been a Sarah call. If you don't know what a Sarah call is, we encourage you to listen to Free Talk Live because we have some very interesting regular callers.
I think it's a multi-year performance art project. Like somebody is writing scripts.
It's a really interesting theory.
I think there's a multiverse where Sarah does know what she's talking about. Unfortunately, it's not this one.
That's possible.
And then we started talking about Venezuela and what, Jackie, I've never heard the term before, but you said there's a term called the resource curse. Yeah. And then we sort of started looking into the Human Freedom Index a little bit and then circled back around to Venezuela. And, well, Goodyear, Venezuela shut down because they didn't have the stuff to make tires anymore.
And in the past, when companies have shut down factories, the government just comes along and says, you can't do that, and seizes the factory.
And that's happened in Venezuela with
many times.
A bunch of different industry.
Right. And it's not like America where we have freedom. And if that were to happen up here, then the government would take all the taxpayer money and prop up the company.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Right. Or what Donald Trump is threatening to do with, was it GM that said they're shutting down a plant in like Ohio and Michigan? Right. And he's like, we're going to just raise taxes on them. We're going to make them pay and show them that we're boss because you can't just close a plant that's not productive.
Speaking
anymore.
Of dumpster fires.
Yeah, and I think
the Trumpster fire.
Is it too late for me to change my 2016 vote to dumpster fire?
I think so.
Or giant meteor?
Well, we got Trumpster fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
But I think what it is Goodyear knows that once they pull out, the government's going to come along and seize whatever's left. So if you're sitting on a huge stock of tires that you can't move out of the country to sell, do you want them to go to the government or do you want to give them to your employees?
Yeah. You can
so the employees got 10 tires as part of their severance.
Yes.
It's not bad.
So remaining in Venezuela, at least with the news here, there's some kind of story about pensions going onto the Petro.
Right.
Which is that supposed cryptocurrency that doesn't appear to actually ever going to actually exist. So first they were going to release this thing as an Ether token, and do an ICO, and then at the last minute they wound up changing it to, was it XEM or EOS?
They bounced around, and it looks like it's a copy of the Dash blockchain, and a lot of the things that they're doing are...
Right, so I actually read the white paper, the original white paper for the Petro, where it said that they were going to release the thing as an Ether token and then run something on a blockchain, and it's like, that's not how these things work.
Right.
That's not how any of this works. But now they appear to at least be putting out a white paper for a standalone something that's not a token on somebody else's platform that, by the way, they never actually sold any. But Nicolas Maduro still tried claiming that they raised like $3.5 billion in the first day.
Yeah, Maduro lies. That's the first rule.
He's a politician.
Right.
Of course he lies.
Yeah, the second thing is, without getting into too many details, suffice to say that the Venezuelan government has promised to release a cryptocurrency because their regular currency is so devalued.
Right, and they just dropped 5 zeros from the currency.
Just shave that, just haircut it, just take that off.
Yeah.
So basically they've done that, and they've said that everybody's going to go to the Petro. Now, what is unique here is Venezuela is in the same condition as the city of Chicago, and
they've got good deep dish pizza and a crime problem,
and the state of California and most municipalities, in that they don't have enough money to pay the retirements of all those people that they promised they were going to pay retirements to.
Right.
So the Venezuelan government has reportedly begun converting pensioners' monthly payments into its controversial cryptocurrency, the Petro. According to the Caracas Chronicles, an English-language political and economics blog based in the country, the government has recently been taking the bolivars, the country's current fiat currency.
The Bolivar Soberano.
There you go. Paid to its elderly residents and automatically swapping them for Petros, the new cryptocurrency.
And the Petro, by the way, that, again, doesn't actually exist, is soon going to be the only way that Venezuelans are going to be able to get a passport.
That's interesting.
Pasaporte.
So this is really the shaft. It's we're not going to give you any more of our really crappy government money. Instead, we're going to give you
a completely non-existent money.
Exactly. This is the epitome of the emperor has no clothes.
We're giving you like unicorn wishes and pixie dust.
Yes.
Why have one hyperinflating currency when you can have two?
Oh, we know that's where it's going to go.
Yeah.
That's absolutely where it's going to go, because they are not going to be able to resist the ability to create new currency out of thin air.
Right,
and
because
cryptocurrencies make it even easier to do that.
Unlike most other cryptocurrencies that within the white paper it says, here's the formula for how new currency comes in and here's the cap. That's not in the paper for the Petro.
Well, and it really doesn't matter what's in the paper. What it really comes down to is
I'm just saying that like they're not even pretending to put a cap on.
But even when we talk about cryptocurrencies like Ethereum or Bitcoin or lots of things, you really have to have a strong method to make changes. Changes need to be extremely hard to make for things not to go wrong, and we've seen that in a number of cryptocurrencies. So people who criticize cryptocurrencies and say, well, you can just make more out of thin air, and along come the crypto guys, and we're like, no, you can't. That's impossible because it's all in the code. Well, it's all in the code as long as everybody who's maintaining that network agrees that it should always be in the code.
Right.
And that's a big thing.
And you have to assume that the white paper they put out saying, like, this is how it works is actually truthful. And my understanding is they've actually changed the white paper since
several times.
Yeah,
several times.
And like the latest one is they just basically copied Dash.
Yes.
Or didn't necessarily copy their first, but just copied from their white paper and said, oh yeah, it works like that.
Well, they changed it all to Spanish too. The original Dash white paper was in English.
Well, and
so
theirs
is in Spanish.
There's the claim And I think they were talking about this on Tuesday night, the claim that, Dash is just, like taking off like wildfire in Venezuela. Well, there's a bunch of reports that that's absolute bunk, and people are just, taking the Dash masternodes for a ride because Dash has one of these systems to where people can put forth the proposal and say, I want to do X, give us money. And, well, if you make up a really good story about how you're going to give everybody in Venezuela some Dash, you'll get some money, and then you talk to a friend that says, hey, so let's film a transaction and say that it's happening everywhere. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live. We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
Trading involves financial risk and is not suitable for all investors.
Marijuana has unleashed a green gold rush across our nation. It's creating $10.8 billion in new wealth a year. And every day, it's transforming more and more Americans into millionaires. Former Speaker of the House John Boehner reveals how you could become one of them. Join him online for the American Cannabis Summit. Attendance is 100% free, but space is limited. Join online at www.acs2018.com. John Boehner and an esteemed panel will reveal which cannabis stocks are primed to deliver life-changing windfalls. Plus, they will show you how to become a cannabis angel investor, backing the hottest startups before they potentially become worth billions of dollars.
To join the American Cannabis Summit, visit acs2018.com or text JOIN to 76280. Don't miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Text JOIN to 76280. Text JOIN to 76280 now.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveatpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveatpurse.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Possibly time for you and your thoughts if you call in now. Plus, there's also the Discord on-air call-in lines over at discord.lrn.fm. And we'll jump back into this story about the Petro in just a second. But want to make sure that I tell you about the Ronald McDonald House charities, because next October, I know it's still a ways away, but next October I will be running the Chicago Marathon representing the Ronald McDonald House charities in the Chicago Marathon. And as a member of Team RMHC, I'll be training, fundraising, and ultimately running 26.2 miles to help keep families together during a stressful time. Just $25 can provide dinner for a family, and $80 can give a family a room for a night at a Ronald McDonald House. Help me raise $2,000. The minimum goal is $1,250, but I want to raise $2,000 for the Ronald McDonald House because I've needed to use their services before, so I know how important the Ronald McDonald House is. You can donate over at rmhc.fppradio.com. That's rmhc.fppradio.com.
And we've been talking about this report out of Venezuela that says that the Venezuelan government is no longer going to pay pensioners, people who receive money after they have retired, in the Bolivar. The Bolivar, what is?
Soberano. The Sovereign Bolivar, which replaced the Bolivar Fuerte, which was the Strong Bolivar, which replaced the regular Bolivar.
I'm waiting for the Bolivar Muerte. Do I have that right? I think I do.
I think you got it close enough.
Okay, good enough. And they talk about a pensioner.
I would also like to see the Bolivar Mas Dora, which is I think more strong. But it sounds so close to Maduro.
There you go.
Yeah.
So basically, instead of you getting your money in their ridiculously hyperinflated currency, they are going to give you a cryptocurrency that, as near as we can tell, still does not exist.
Right.
Notably, this conversion happened after the government first sent payments in fiat to residents' web wallets, meaning the Venezuelan government sent pensioners their funds, withdrew them, and replaced them with an equivalent value of Petros. How pensioners would be able to use their unrequested Petros is unclear, as they are not generally accepted. However, it seems to be possible to convert them back to bolivars via a complex process, according to the Post. To make matters worse, the value of the Petro relative to the Bolivar is unstable, rising from 9,000 to more than 15,000 over the course of a few weeks.
Now, they're also saying that they're going to stop selling oil for U.S. dollars and start taking Petros in payment for oil instead. And if they move around to the point where, like, you have to buy some of this Petro cryptocurrency to buy oil, that could be one way to just sort of force there to be some sort of value to the currency.
Right. So what they're probably going to wind up doing, and it doesn't sound like they've stated this yet, they will declare it to be legal tender and then force Venezuelans to use it, kind of like what the tyrant Lincoln did when he had the Treasury issue currency, where prior to... what was it, 1862, 1863?
1863.
The U.S. federal government did not print dollar bills.
No paper money.
They issued coins, which is something authorized in the Constitution.
Paper. Yeah, the Constitution, that's what it is.
Paper, you could probably use it to exchange for, like, a sandwich. So, the Constitution could be considered currency. But... Yeah, so prior to the tyrant Lincoln, there were no legal tender laws in the United States, and there was no U.S. Treasury note. And I know that there are some libertarians that they sort of fantasize about the Treasury issuing money again for some weird, twisted reason.
I liked it when you were free to use whatever money you wished. And
we weren't alive then, though.
That's true, but I can pretend. In my dreams, I am.
Yeah.
But some of the most traded currencies were the Spanish. What was it? Not the Spanish pieces of 8 and things like that. Things that.
Yeah, I know the ones you're talking about.
But those were traded just like you would pay for things with a dollar.
Right.
I was just going to say, you say forcing them, making legal tender and forcing them to use it. Do you mean like prohibiting them using any other form of currency? Because right now I think it already is accepted as payment in Venezuela. Like the government's already making people take it as payment, aren't they?
The Petro is completely non-existent.
Yeah.
No one can accept it. No one can use it. How do you use a non-existent currency?
They haven't gotten there yet. That's going to be their goal, absolutely. And why wouldn't you? If you're coming up with yet another currency to fail, at some point you have to require people to take it, because that's the only way it's going to go.
And it would not surprise me if they're wanting everybody to use the Petro. Would not surprise me at all if they do wind up making it criminal to use anything other than the Petro.
That's what authoritarian states do.
Knowing how poorly the internet and the utilities are in Venezuela, how reliable will a cryptocurrency system actually be if nobody can reliably wind up connecting?
Well, let me lay out my predictions. Number one, the Petro will fail, and it will fail for numerous and varied reasons. That's a given.
Not that big of
it's not
a step
stretch.
here.
But to your point, you brought up whether they would require other buyers of their oil to pay for them with Petros. I think it'll get to that point where they will try that, and it will fail miserably, because when you get out of Venezuela and you get into the crypto world, it is pretty much a free market. You can go buy, if it actually got on exchanges from your desk, you could buy it off of exchanges in Japan, Australia, the United States.
I don't think they'll put it on exchanges, because part of the white paper thing says that you have to be a Venezuelan to use it.
Right, but if they get past this idea that we're going to force it down our own people's throats, and if anybody wants to buy Venezuelan oil, then they're going to have to buy Venezuelan currency to buy it with. It's not outside the realm of insanity for me to see this coming out of Maduro.
Well, and the problem is, though, oil is a commodity. So if you need oil, you don't have to buy it from Venezuela. You can buy it from any oil producer. It's not like Venezuela oil has that special taste to it that, makes people...
Oh, no, it's got cocaine in it.
Yeah, that distinguishes it.
That might work, yeah.
It's just a total
It's got the
commodity.
go juice.
Right. Now, if Maduro came out and he said, you know what, we're going to sell Venezuelan oil at $10 less a barrel than anywhere else in the world you can buy it, providing you pay for it with this, that might get short-term sales going.
Right.
But I don't think that currency with the Venezuelan government behind it is ever going to have traction.
Yeah, because
nobody's going to have faith in it.
Yeah, nobody wants to be caught holding it when it all falls apart.
Exactly.
So, we've talked about kind of the definition of money, and one of the essential components is it has to be a store of value, and I don't think anybody believes that the Petro will be a store of value long term.
Yeah, because it currently doesn't exist.
Right. And if it does exist, if it came into existence right now, I would not have faith that it will be a store of value for the next 30 seconds.
I would rather set my computer up to mine pixie dust, which is also completely non-existent. Let's go to the phones. We've got David calling in from New Mexico. David, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Hey, first of all, hey, what I missed Sarah's call. What did she say about the buses?
She said that they were Chinese buses and were being shipped back to China because they were defective. And it turns out that they were made in California, and they're going back to California because they were defective.
It is a Chinese company, though. She got that part right.
Right, and according to a book I read, the wheels go round and round.
But in this case, the brakes don't work, so the problem is the wheels don't stop going round and round.
Oh, details.
And then pedestrians get run over.
Yeah. I really think that Sarah's like whole story with the buses and pedestrians. I think it's like this elaborate performance art piece, and she's building this like massive multi-year plot, one call at a time.
Well, actually what she says is fairly factual, but that's funny you should say that, because when I first heard Sarah, and Sarah, if you're listening, hi, this was like a decade ago. When I first heard Sarah, I literally, and I was in the movie business at the time. I'm not an actor, but I was just doing background stuff and stand-in stuff and whatever. And I thought that because there's a local movie scene, I thought she was one of the local actresses practicing her craft, and that because she was calling into the local radio stations with being Sarah, and I thought she was being. Yeah, and I thought she was being an actress, and she was doing an exceptional job of pulling one over on all of the local guests.
Thank you for the call. We're out of time for tonight, but always online at freetalklive.com.
If you're looking for work, you know the math. There are many more applicants than openings, so you need to stand out, not blend into the blah, blah, blah your interviewer is hearing from your competition. Here's a tip. In your interview, you will be judged more by the questions you ask